Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
When the 1987 NASCAR Cup Series cars were announced to be coming to the iRacing service, Daytona was immediately a fan favorite for iRacers to try out. Since its release, these iRacers and the three wide, cold, hard art Cup Series drivers in particular have put in work to figure these beasts out and try to hang on for success. Riding the wave of hype around the 1987 Chevrolet Monte Carlo and Ford Thunderbirds, we ride into Daytona Beach to gear up for some season-opening action. On behalf of our friends at SYM TV, welcome to the 3-Wide Racing League and welcome race fans to Pit Stop TV. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter tonight. Emerson Ardon and Devin Zimmerman join me in the booth. I am Andrew Cardinale IV, and this is Pit Stop TV's live coverage of 3-Wide Cold Hard Art Cup Series at Daytona International Speedway. We join you tonight from the virtual Daytona Beach, Florida, for the season opener in the 3-Wide Racing League. And Emerson, Devin, welcome to Daytona. Welcome to the Pit Stop TV booth. Devin, it's your first time here. Emerson, we've got an interesting night of racing ahead. Obviously, this is our first time covering the 3-Wide Racing League, and of course, for those of you tuning in at SYM TV, you're probably wondering why you hear my voice and not Kyle Hires. Well, he is driving through America's heartland right now. A little while ago, he was driving through Kansas and checking in that we were all good to go. A bit of a scheduling conflict has put him on his drive back from Colorado that I know he talked about last week during the qualifying and dual broadcast. So he's on his way home. We wish him safe travels. We hope he gets home as quickly and as safely as possible, and we cannot wait for him to, of course, resume coverage for SYM TV of the 3-Wide Racing League and the 3-Wide Cold Hard Art Cup Series next week. I'm not sure where these guys are going. Actually, I spaced out on the second race of the season, but these guys are here for their season opener at Daytona. They qualified last week. They did their duels last week. They've set their lineup just like you would see in NASCAR, or at least pretty darn close to it. And these guys are actually getting back on the racetrack now after a driver's meeting, and they're ready to go at it. Emerson, we thank SYM TV for having us. We thank the 3-Wide Racing League for having us. This is not, of course, our usual situation covering you guys, but we're very happy to be here, and we're very happy that in a time of need, SYM TV considered us. That all said, we are ready to go for some racing action this evening. Again, I want to welcome Emerson and Devin into the booth. We've got some practice on the racetrack. That's what these guys are finishing up. And James Miller, Jeffrey Fisher, a couple of teammates, the fastest on the racetrack. These guys are getting back on the racetrack now, Emerson, after their drivers' meeting. We're seeing speeds of upwards of 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, these cars, and again, I think it was illustrated beautifully in the intro of this broadcast, just how different these cars are going to be. Again, these are 1987 NASCAR stock cars. These are unrestricted beasts, and Daytona, Talladega, they get to some wicked speeds.
Yep, they get to big speeds. Thanks for that, Emerson. Yeah, you can hit upwards of 210, 214 miles an hour down the back straightaway here at Daytona. We'll be looking for them to get that fast and also bump and bang a little bit, maybe causing a few wrecks.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you never want to see big wrecks, but when these guys wreck in these 1987 Cup cars, the Monte Carlos, the Thunderbirds, they usually wreck big. That's one thing to keep in mind this evening. These cars are very hard to drive. In fact, we can go on board with some of these guys as they finish up their practice times, and you can see they are going to be wheeling these things all night long. This is on board with Tanner Sharp in the number 3. He's passing. It looks like that might be the 53 car that he's going by on the outside here. These are going to be very, very hard to drive race cars. Definitely, I think this is one of the easier places to handle them at. Sorry, that was the 63, not the 53. This actually might be one of the easier places to lap at the very least. But once you are racing with somebody, once you are inches away from them, you are heads up, just trying to beat them and work the draft and go as fast as you can. And once you're in that dirty air, in that draft, going over 210, that's the problem. That's when fear sets in as you fly off into turns 1 and 3, literally hanging onto the seat.
Oh, absolutely. It's mentioned, when you look at current Cup cars and all, they're just glued to the track. And these cars, compared to the Daytona International Speedway that they ran in the 80s, this track is a whole lot more smoother. So these cars are they're gonna have a little bit easier of a time navigating the track, but nonetheless, it's still a wicked challenge. In the draft, they're gonna be plowing tight off of turns 2 and 4, just like IndyCar's Aero Push. And it's honestly just because of how much speed they're carrying in these corners. The banks help a little bit with that, but the banks can only do so much. The tires are on the edge of grip, and it turns 2 and 4. They're gonna be the real trouble spots tonight.
Yeah, normally you would see the Cup cars in today's racing, it would be the tires wouldn't really be a problem. They'd be mainly pitting for fuel, but the tires do go away very quickly with these cars. As in you enter turns 1 and 3, the car is literally almost trying to get sideways. And then again, like you said, Emerson, off the turns, especially in the draft, it's going to push up the racetrack. You got to hang on, keep it off the wall. As we're riding on board here, you can kind of see he has a little bit of the draft for the 42 in front of him. And he's probably trying to wheel that thing just to keep it in a straight line.
And we'll switch around to some other onboards here to try and get a look at the rest of the race field. We do have 37 cars that qualified last week. Let's see, we've got Matt Grunberg starting on pole. And we'll go through the full lineup here shortly. Oh, man, that actually scared me a little bit looking at my monitor. That definitely got the best of me when Jeffrey Fisher piloted that one. Anyways, we'll get to the lineup here shortly. I do want to, again, welcome Devin Zimmerman into the booth. It's the first time we've had you here on Pit Stop TV. I know you've been working with Emerson Ardon recently on some of his own broadcasts. It's good to have you here, good to add you to the lineup. We're always looking to add new broadcasters. Now, I know it's probably going to be a little bit of nerves at first, but once those settle down, we have the full confidence in you here. But tell us about we're talking pre-race, actually, a little bit about how hard these cars are to drive. Tell us some about your experience with these 1987 cars as a racer here on iRacing and how hard they really are to drive.
Yeah, so these cars, they slip and slide everywhere when you try to get into a turn, and that's just from the lack of downforce on the rear. And normally, the cars of today, they have the giant spoilers on the back that keeps the car planted, especially, the air pushing down on that spoiler keeps the back of the car firmly planted on the ground. These cars do not have a back spoiler, so they're slipping and sliding getting into the turns. And, just from my experience racing with them, they're fun. They're very, very fun cars to drive. You can see here he just lost it coming out of the tri-oval. Goes for a nice big ride into the fence there. Once you lose it, it's gone. Like we said, there's no downforce. It's just going to go and do its own thing. But again, they are very, very fun cars to drive. And you just get a real sense for kind of how the guys back in the 80s really had to do this, or really had to manhandle these cars to get to the speeds that they were racing.
Absolutely. It's tough. These things are beasts. Like I talked about when I opened this thing up. These are difficult beasts to get around Daytona International Speedway, to get around anywhere, even just to drive up and down the street, honestly, would be pretty difficult, as these are a bit harder to shift than your normal NASCAR Cup cars. So you mentioned the lack of a rear spoiler. It's there, but just barely. I mean, it's only leaned up maybe 30, 40 degrees sometimes. It is leaned way, way back to get these guys going pretty quick. Now, as we transition into nightfall here, the track is obviously going to grip up a little bit. These guys are going to be able to drive these things a little bit easier, but man, these are still, I mean, you can see, we're from the onboard here, Skylar Nizzle looking back at, I'm actually not sure who that is. We'll get more accustomed with these paint schemes as the night goes on. We're looking at a Chevy Monte Carlo, at least, behind him. And, I mean, dead sideways through these corners at 200 miles an hour, Emerson, is a weird feeling.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're going about as fast as you're probably ever going to go, at least on a simulator, and you're at the edge of control the whole time. These laps will click by, but I promise you it won't be clicking by to these drivers. They will be holding onto those wheels all night long. All right, we're going to go ahead. Andrew, go ahead and take us through the starting lineup.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we do have that starting lineup. We have Matt Grunberg, our pole sitter. Race Clark, and then number 22 to his outside, starting from the outside pole. Row number 2, the winners of those duels a week ago that you saw on SYM TV. We have Cameron Rich and Jeffrey Fisher. Row number 3 gives us Carlos Acosta and Brady Smith. He's in 6th place. Rolling back to 7th, it's William Kruzka, Jordan McAvoy in 8th. And a little further back, Vic Bloom, Donovan Smith round out your top 10.
So we'll look here at 11th place. We'll have James Miller and Kevin Finn. How about row number 7? We'll have Mike Steffens and Richard Hines. Falling back to row number 8, we're going to have Michael Goodman and Tanner Sharp. Row number 9, we're going to have James Panko and Sam Close. And how about row number 10? We're going to have Jeremiah Llewellyn and Trevor Butler.
Yeah, row number 11, there's Dustin Durr and Skylar Nissel. Row number 12, Nick Boyd and Alex Boyd. Then we have Corey Lindsay and Brent Miller in 25th and 26th. Levi Zielinski and Nick Miller, 27th, 28th. Jonathan Cogswell, 29th. Justin Cobb, 30th.
And to round out the rest of the field, Chad Frankenfield in 31st, with Nathan Velez in 32nd, Drew Eisenman 33rd, Eric Mickey in 34th, and we actually only had 34 of the 37 qualified cars turn out here at Daytona this evening. These guys already down the backstretch, getting ready, getting formed. There we go. Some version of those words. Getting formed up for their run. 250 miles on tap this evening. 100 race laps here at Daytona. The lights are already getting turned on. And Kyle made a great note last week that Daytona has the most expensive lighting in the world of any sports stadium. And I believe it was $240 per hour. Now, that might not sound all that crazy when you first think about it, but that's $240 per hour. That's more than I pay in a month. And they have multiple hours each event, of course, when they run into the night. So, as these guys get ready to go racing, 100 laps on tap. Grunberg, your pole sitter. We're coming to the green flag here shortly. The green flag flies. We're off and racing in the 3-Wide Racing League. The 3-Wide Cold Hard Arts Cup Series opens up at Daytona. Grunberg loses the lead immediately. Some missed shifts there throughout the field as they race off into turn 1.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect view of what's going to be happening here. Is actually you'll see the bottom come into play right away. Matt Grunberg, just the shorter way around the track, as they're not fully up to speed yet. Grunberg will take the race lead back, but Race Clark on the outside, he's really making that outside hook up. I believe Devin was talking about it earlier, how if you can get that outside hooked up just right, outside line, just riding that dashed line with your right side tires, you can really make some serious lap time.
Yeah, that outside line, if you get it just right and get off the turn, you can get a giant run down both the front stretch and back stretch. It can come into play later in the race when they're vying for a win, especially, coming to that checkered flag. But right now, it looks like it's kind of falling back a little bit as Matt Grunberg really has a stranglehold on the lead at the moment.
Through turns 1 and 2 for the second time this evening, you see that's Fisher on the bottom side getting a bit squirrely, getting a bit sideways down there. Grunberg pops up high. The number 2 of Acosta stays with Fisher down on the bottom side. Fisher now your bottom side leader down on those double yellow lines. He is going to nose ahead for the race lead through turns 3 and 4, and he now has it solely. The 98 Fisher leads, Acosta following him. Grunberg falls back into third out of turn number 4. 2 laps complete at Daytona.
So if you come to start lap number 3, Acosta now looking to the inside. He's got the run through the tri-oval. We'll see if he can pick it up down into turn number 1. Looks like it'll be Fisher with the advantage entering the corner. And again, just that outside, if you can get it hooked up right, he'll have this run down the straightaway. But Acosta pulls up even closer. They're almost side by side down the back here. You'll have, how about the 6 of Kruska coming up to help out that 2 car on the inside.
Yeah, they got to get a little bit closer to get that draft working just right for these cars. It doesn't work kind of like the cars nowadays. You really got to be right on the back bumper without hitting them because they get so loose. So as they come back to the line, Jeff Fisher is going to be challenged, and it looks like he still has the lead, but they get a little squirrely coming out of the tri-oval. They're able to hold it. They go into turn 1. Jeff Fisher still in the lead.
That 6 car of Cruz goes a bit squirrely into 1 as well. These guys all figuring things out, figuring each other out, as well as the race car and the racetrack. Of course, they qualified and dueled during the day last week. They're getting to race now at night. I'm sure they've had multiple opportunities on iRacing to race these cars here at night, but for the first time in this series, getting used to the way this track is going to change throughout the evening. Of course, still has some residual heat in the racetrack. We can pull this up as well. 84 degrees in the air, track temp 86 degrees. So again, some residual heat, but that's going to drop throughout the evening, especially because these cars don't lap here very often. There's a lot of time in between these cars coming back over the same spot of the racetrack to continue heating it up. So the track will lose some heat as night falls. Pretty calm winds out of the southwest. These guys getting into race mode, though. Now on lap 5 of 100, Fisher controlling the field, playing Pied Piper up front. He's got Grunberg behind him, Acosta down on the bottom side.
Yes, well, how about the 54 peeking down low as they enter turn number 3? Grunberg wants the race lead once again. He can clear the 98 through 3 and 4. We'll see what he can do down the front stretch. Acosta looking to finally get clear up the second. And here comes Kruska to try to work his way into the top 3.
Yeah, it looks like Acosta's not really comfortable there in second place. He wants the lead. He just tried to poke to the outside and get up in front of the 98, but he wasn't able to get a good run, and the 98 wasn't with him, so he stayed back down on the low side. Still has second place. It looks like the 98, though, is going to get a run off of turn 2. Pulls up alongside him to see if he can challenge for the lead. No, Grunberg pulls up to block that run. Very smart driving there by Grunberg.
Watching this lead battle from the point of view of Cameron Rich in this Ford Thunderbird. He now gets up into about 3rd place. 5th place, side by side with Kruska for that spot. Watching Grunberg now control this race. Fisher drop back a little bit, and you can see Acosta down on the bottom side trying to figure out his next move, how he wants to try and get up to the race lead. And I mean, he's trying to play Grunberg right now. He's trying to get him to stay up top long enough for him to get his nose underneath. But Grunberg doing a great job of playing Dale Jr. right now and controlling this race from that race lead.
Yeah, you're going to notice all the great super speedway racers, the plate track racers, they're going to be playing both lines because, the front, most drivers will say, is one of the safest places to be at a plate track if there is a safe place. Acosta, he's really trying to work his way up there, right? It's so tough when the leader just has so much control. You know, the clean air, the air is not as prominent in these cars, but it still plays a big factor in being able to try to close up to somebody and to try to make that pass.
Yeah, that's what Gruenberg is doing. Like you said, he's jumping down when they enter the turn, and that gives the momentum to the inside line, lets the inside line kind of get back up to the outside line, because the outside line is going to get the run off of the straight or off of the turn onto the straightaway, and that's what's happening every lap. Gruenberg's playing it perfectly to stay up in front. Does look like the 2 is going to get a nice push there and get alongside Gruenberg for the lead as they go into 3 of 4. Let's see if he can keep it as they come out of turn 4 and back to the tri-oval.
It's a dogfight out of 4. Acosta on the bottom, Gruenberg up top. Kruska helps Acosta get that race lead, and across the start-finish line, Acosta has it not quite clear, but he gets the race lead. He leads lap number 8 of 100. Fisher forms that outside line back up with Gruenberg outside his nose. You've got the 17 of Cameron Rich sitting back. Here comes the 22 of Race Clark, our outside pole sitter, coming back into the fray on the bottom side, third in line. From then on back, actually, we've got some interesting cars to look at. We've got the 14 of Kevin Finn, the 99 of Vic Bloom. These guys all just trying to let everything happen up ahead of them, and I like that they're sitting back. I like that they are giving each other plenty of room, both inside, outside, up front, and behind. And, I mean, they're doing what they have to do right now. They are riding around. Those guys are duking it out for the race lead, but they are doing exactly what they have to do to make it all 100 laps. These guys continue to duke it out. Now lap 10 of 100.
I was starting to have the feeling that what Gruenberg was doing was kind of negating the chance of having 2 lines work, at least for the time being. And you see right there on that shot, on the wall shot down the back straight, most of the field was single file, and then Acosta able to get to the inside of the 54 really lit a spark up here in the top 10, and they're back double wide once again. They were almost single file all the way. It was only the 98 and the 17 up there. And now Acosta trying to clear the 54. There's a slow car there off of turn number 4 way back, maybe just trying to fall back here. That's the 87 of Richard Hines. So he'll probably fall in line here unless he just wants to keep working back, just try to stay out of trouble here.
Yeah, it looks like Hines did get the wall coming out of 4. The cars in these drafts, they get very tight. Like you were saying earlier at the beginning of the broadcast, Emerson, they have that IndyCar effect where, the air just it upsets the balance of the car getting off the turn. They just want to go right up to the wall, and that looks to be exactly what happened to the 87 machine. He just got out of the wall out of 4. Acosta, though, is cleared for the lead now. He has the lead. He can move up in front if he wants to, but it looks like he's going to stay on the bottom and stay with the guy who's pushed him to that lead in Kruska.
Yeah, these cars are driving sideways to go straight through the corners. They are right on the edge. And if you make any adjustment to the way they drive, be it to loosen them up, tighten them up, it's going to have a big, big difference when they're going this quickly. So when you start taking the air off the front, the little bit of air that they have on the front to create that little bit of downforce that they have, that really tightens these things up. Kruska maybe looking 3 wide right here. This is for the race lead. He stuck his nose up there and then thought better of it down the backstretch. That is going to really hurt that bottom line, and that's why you see Gruenberg and almost Fisher clear Acosta. Fisher's trying to get down there. He wanted to clear Acosta and make the move on. Oh, and he actually gets the wall, trying to get back up behind Gruenberg. We had some smoke. We had some cars making contact further back, but this lead battle is too good to go away from.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kruska really was wanting and was planning on having that move succeed down the back straight, but of course it's just so hard to really get any run going once you hit that wall of air. Once you come out from behind a car, that is just the effects of drafting at these big super speedways here. How about the 98 Fisher down, darting to the inside lane, trying to take the late race lead from Gruenberg. Here comes Acosta back in that second position on the inside lane to push him out there, and he'll get clear off of 4.
Jeff Fisher, great move coming into 3 to dart down in front of Acosta. Picks up the race lead. He will lead lap 13 of 100. Does look like he's going to get hung out to dry. Nope, he gets in front of Gruenberg. Almost got put in the sucker hole in the middle there by a second. Costa getting another good push by Kruska as they go into turn 1. He's looking for the lead back as they come out of turn 2.
The chopper following these cars around the racetrack gives an interesting perspective as to how these guys are trying to work their way through the draft and get up to the race lead. So you can see just how sideways they are as well. I mean, it's going to be the talking point of, I feel like, the entire series, how hard these cars are to drive. But also, let's talk about how great these cars sound as they go on by. I mean, that is just... oh my gosh, that is amazing listening to these things rip around here at Daytona. And man, that's what NASCAR needs to sound like. Anyways, enough reminiscing. Back to lap 15 of 100 here at Daytona. Fisher leading, Grunberg up top, behind him Acosta on the bottom side trying to lead that charge. Kruzka tucked up underneath him, and he's got Race further on back. Race Clark in the number 22. We have a fourth contender now on the outside. Now he makes it 3 wide. That's Chad Frankenfield coming through the middle.
Look at him surge up the middle. Frankenfield. Oh, I think Gruenberg got the wall a little bit there. He's going to move into that second position on the outside, but he's not done yet. He's looking to get to the back bumper to 98, really make some noise up front. Acosta looking to get clear to the race lead here, but still has to fight the 98 to his outside. They're side drafting heavily up front. And again, most of the field there, single file. It's only these top 8, but wow, it is rowdy amongst these top 8.
Yeah, and Frankenfurter, he's come from 31st on the grid, as you see there on your screen. Amazing drive to get up to the front. He is running second in the high line. He is still poking, looking to make it 3 wide as they go down the backstretch. Looks like he's going to tuck back in behind Fisher for the moment, but he really wants this lead. He started so back in the pack. He's up at the front. He's like, I want this safety. I want to lead this thing.
Yeah, for the moment's right, because Frankenfield is looking. Oh, we've got some contact trouble out of turn 4. One car is spinning. That is Acosta losing all of those positions he was working so hard to keep. And Acosta spins down the front stretch. We'll get a quick look at what happens here out of turn number 4. Kruzka was up underneath him, and oh, he just gets loose. He just got loose, and then Kruzka helped Acosta around. Thankfully, that car does not blow over. That car stays on all 4 wheels and continues on. Cameron Rich, now your race leader, down the back. No, sorry, 4th place. Fisher continues to lead. Frankenfield now side by side with him. Grunberg is sitting second on the bottom side, and Rich sits second on the outside in 4th place now.
Yeah, Costa can now maybe hope for a yellow to follow his way here to get back into contention, because he was really making some great moves up here to be fighting here. But the 98 Fisher gets clear to the race lead. For a moment there, Frankenfield had the lead last lap going down the back straightaway, but just got consumed by the draft behind him. And now the 17 of Rich looking to get to that back bumper to 15. Gruenberg finally made his way down to the inside here, and he'll be given a great shot to that 98. That 54 and that 98, they've been glued to each other these first 18 laps already, whether it was the 98 behind the 54 or now the 54 behind the 98. But looks like you got this little alliance they've got going on here.
Yeah, they look to be glued nose to tail for most of this race. That inside line, though, they're kind of out there on their own, those top 4 guys. The inside line's trying to get kind of back up to our leaders here. They're all kind of nose to tail back through the field, trying to push back up, which you can do, and it does look like they're gaining slowly. That outside line, though, with the 3 cars, 15 gets a little loose. That's going to slow down that outside lane and kind of negate their run that they had.
These guys are all getting loose. Gruenberg, a great save on the bottom side after Frankenfield's amazing save on the bottom. Now, Fisher puts Frankenfield on the apron a bit. Frankenfield had the move made, and Fisher kept going with him. That's plate racing. That's super speedway racing for these guys, and especially with these tires wearing out. You have to get everything you can right now. Cannot blame Frankenfield at all. Can't blame Fisher at all. These guys are duking it out. The tires falling off, and they're going to be all over the place here.
I was just about to say, you can tell these guys are struggling for grip on the exits of these corners. That's 17 to Cameron Rich. What a move. He fit pretty much he fit right in between that hole between him, the 15 and the 54, but he got it down there. Now Gruenberg back to the outside. He's sticking with that 98. That's 17 to Cameron Rich. He understands what's at stake here. He's kind of just got to keep working with his 15 unless he can get to the lead himself. He's trying. How about the 22? Race Clark gets back up into the mix. The 6 of Kruzka up here in the top 6.
Yeah, there's Jeff Fisher back to the lead. Gets a great push by Gruenberg going into 3 and 4. It does look like he's going to pull back up, though, and join back up with Gruenberg. That's going to allow Frankenfield to get back to the lead. He's being pushed by the 17 of Rich.
staying on board here with Clark in 5th place. That's Grunberg on the top side trying to help Fisher. I see a little bit of left rear damage on Fisher's machine as well. And Cameron Rich staying in line here with Chad Frankenfield. I mean, that 15 just came out of nowhere from 31st on the grid, as you mentioned, Devin. And oh my gosh, the moves he made to get to that position, incredible. And I'm really glad he held it for his sake and everybody else's sake. And man, I know, Devin, you were probably cringing a little bit extra as a Cowboys fan watching an Eagles car go up to the lead like that, but thankfully it all worked out and he's making it exciting. Cameron Rich takes the lead across the stripe to lead lap 21 of 100. Now the 22 on lap 22, suddenly in 3rd place. Looks like Race Clark has something for these guys.
Race Clark really closing up to that back bumper, that 15. He's kind of sticking with him. Rich, he kind of fell out. He popped out of line to try to take that race lead, and Clark said that's another spot for him. If that inside lane can get a move on here, the side draft down the back stretch really having a huge effect down there. But the 17 of Rich falling back. The 98, 54, they almost get together. They're dropping back big time here. But yeah, Frankenfield, he started back there and he used those tires right. I think everybody's kind of losing grip right about now, and he used every bit of life in those tires. And up here in the lead, he can just kind of relax until there's a car side by side with him, at least.
Yeah, and it looks like that outside line is really backed off. I think because of the tires going away, they're going to have to start kind of getting out of the side-by-side at the moment. Yeah, that outside line is really falling back. Everybody seems to be trying to move down to the inside. Stay single file, just take some laps away for right now. Try to get to the pit stop, get some new rubber, and then make their moves then.
It seems we've just had an issue. Okay, no, never mind. I saw Zielinski drop off of our leaderboard for a moment. I thought he was maybe going to the garage like he had an issue. We have had some guys have issues here, have to come down the pit lane, it looks like, or at least lose a lot of time. Of course, Acosta went around. He has fallen to around 30th place or so. We'll update on that situation if we get a caution. We're on lap 24 of 100. Of course, we're talking about the tires falling off as these guys progress through their first run of the evening. And these guys were racing pretty hard up front. That's why you've seen a change of guard just about, as Grunberg and Fisher have lost the lead. One car slow up top. That's James Miller going further back, and they're spinning up ahead. Maybe I see some tire smoke. Yeah, they're trying to wreck. Oh my gosh, there was a car sideways that entire time, I think. And we're trying to figure out who that was. Looks like it was Vic Bloom. We'll get a replay here. This is going off into turn 3. I saw the tire smoke the entire time. It kind of paused me up a bit. You see him get sideways in 3 and just hang on to it. Try to keep saving it. Sideways again. Vic Bloom. How? I mean, how? He hangs on to that number 9 Monte Carlo, or sorry, 99 Monte Carlo. He keeps going, thankfully, in the right direction, but loses a lot of time and really splits these leaders up.
That looks so reminiscent to Kyle Busch in the 2012 Sprint Unlimited, having to save that race car. But again, these cars are that much harder to save. That's just incredible. He's able to keep that car under control, and he's still in the top 20. But up front, it's all singled out now. We should really maybe not expect too many moves unless something drastic happens until we get a pit stops possibly. How about the 17 trying that outside again, but it seems like the outside becomes the less preferred line the longer we go on these tires.
Yeah, we're now looking at the 00 car there. This pack has fallen back a little bit, just trying to stay in line, trying to stay safe, run a very, very clean race, just get to the pit stops, tick laps away, not cause anybody trouble, not get in trouble themselves. Running a very good race back here in this, I believe it's the second or third pack of cars from our leaders.
Yeah, this is pretty much our second pack we're looking at here. This is beginning with one Brady Smith leading the way in the 00 now. He gets on by the number 20 of Corey Lindsay. They switch numbers on me. So the 00 of Corey Lindsay takes the lead. Brady Smith in the 20 loses that spot. The 14 of Butler, again, they switched around on me. The 14 of Finn gets on by the 12 of Butler. We also got Kolb in the 52 and Boyd in the 74 in this mess. 3 wide down the back stretch. Contact, and they're going to wreck. Trouble. Oh, we got a blowover. Oh, man.
That was a wicked accident. I was just about to mention that 12 of Butler, he was trying to get to the inside of the 20, fell back, and he really wanted to get up there, and I think him and the 14 made contact, and it was on from there.
Yeah, Brady Smith with a wild ride. You're going to ride here, but you have to see it. That's the thing. That's one of the big physics features that iRacing introduced. When these cars get backwards, they blow over just like that, just like they used to in real life back in the 80s. Man, what a wild ride he just had.
And thankfully, we can appreciate that blowover a bit more than if this was a real race, because this is, of course, a sim, and he's not going to be feeling that one in the morning. The car's going to be feeling it for the rest of the race, and he's not going to like the way that's going to drive the rest of this race. But we can at least appreciate this beautiful accident, at least for us. Again, not being involved in this one. Brady Smith up and over just like that. Slams back down on the trunk lid, up into the catch fence as well. Barrel rolls down turn 3. And it's on, and he gets collected again by the 14. We'll see how this all happens one more time. This is through turns 1 and 2. We were watching it live, and we're going to watch all of this build back up. They get 3 wide, and they just run out of racing room down the backstretch. But how does it all happen? Well, you're going to see here. This is kind of a smaller view. We'll actually try and get a little bit closer from our chopper. The 12 comes down the racetrack. I think he was trying to give the 52 room up top. We'll watch this again, this time in slow-mo. The number 12, I'm going to get to him. That is Trevor Butler going down the racetrack, and he gets right into the right front of the 74. That turns him into the 14 of, and I'll find that one more time. The 14 car is Kevin Finn, and the 74 involved in this one as well is going to be Nick Boyd. And, man, it just starts a big one here off into turn number 3. Again, getting used to some new names, some new faces here. SYM TV usually bringing you coverage. We're so glad that SYM TV considered us this evening. And we've brought you the first wreck of the evening, the first caution flag. The race off of pit road now going to be won by Race Clark. Cameron Rich in second place. Chad Frankenfield in third. What do you say, Emerson? We try and dial up our race leader, Race Clark.
Yeah. We're gonna try to get a hold of Race Clark here. Race Clark has he's been amazing to watch there up in the front pack there, and looks like we got him queued up here. We're gonna bring him in. Hey, Race Clark, this is the Pit Stop TV booth. You got a copy?
What's up?
That first run, that was an absolutely wicked experience up there, battling for the lead and that top 10. Everybody's hungry for that race lead. Can you just kind of describe how it is being in that pack?
Let me tell you, it's 70 laps ago. My hands are shaking. It feels like the end of a race. I wanted to lead a lap really bad. I wanted that bonus point. It's all I really wanted. So I've been trying since the drop of the green to get it. Finally got it done. A bunch of, shuffling of the lead up here. The car is really tight on the high side, but quick off. It's crazy.
Not entirely sure if you remember it, but on the initial start of the race, you were actually able to get to the race lead, and then it didn't kind of pan out from there. But what was kind of your plan going into the race? I guess other than leading a lap, and how well has that phased out for you?
Well, yeah, the best case scenario was to lead in the first 5 and then drop to the back, but I just never got it, or at least I didn't think I did. If I did, oops. I've been up here trying to get it, and now, things are starting to get spread out, and now I'm in the lead, so I really don't know. I think from here, I'll probably try to hold on to it, but if things will carry, I still maybe might drop to the back, because, we're racing for points over the whole season at the end of the day. But biggest thing is, my biggest goal is just staying out of trouble.
Right on. Well, y'all are on the 1 to go here, so I'm just gonna ask you one quick thing. Who do you got to thank for your amazing run thus far into the race?
Probably I gotta thank Cameron. I gotta thank all my friends watching. When friends are watching, you gotta get hype. I got friends racing with me, but just wanted to lead, just wanted to do good. Thank all that.
Right on. Well, we will let you get back to it.
Thank you all.
Real quick, Race, remind me what channel you were in?
Oof. Yeah, Race, what channel were you in?
I was in Prestige Worldwide.
Gotcha, that's what I thought. Have a great race, man.
Thank you. Thank you for the broadcast.
And so that's Race Clark in the number 22. Always good to talk to drivers mid-race, as we always say. We're coming to the green flag. The green flag flies, and Race Clark leads us to the green. It's the 17 of Cameron Rich in second. In third, it's Frankenfield. Lap 30 of 100. Now lap 31 of 100, and we have big wreck. Big wreck into turn one.
Man, caution is out.
Actually, this one's going to be a bit smaller than I thought it was going to end up being, but not what you want to see, and they're still stacking them up further back.
Corey Lindsay just turned out of the pack, and it was on from there. Actually, like you said, it was pretty small, and I guess maybe further back, maybe they were just trying to check up, and maybe they weren't across the start-finish line yet.
Yeah, you see here as they come into the line, everybody's good and clean. They're doing a single file restart, staying up high because you don't want anybody to get on top of you. That's the only time you can pass somebody before the start-finish line in iRacing is to get above them. It looks like everybody tried to dive down low. The 00 hesitated for a second, and that's what kind of turned him around. Doesn't let it too bad for the 00. It looks like some other guys got it really bad further back there.
We'll get some more looks at this one on this restart. Yeah, the 3 turns the 00 around, and thankfully they were going slow enough to where we don't have a blowover again. They stack up the 77s in that. We see the 3 get turned head-on into the fence. He's going to get collected by the 44. The 44 is, I'm actually not certain. Again, some new faces here. See Vic Bloom get through that. And then we have some more action a little further back. Just for clarification, the 44, Michael Goodman. And we're just going to wait on everybody else to race into frame here as the 3 is stopped. And there it is. The 87 comes in. Oh, and he tags him pretty hard. And 88, nowhere to go at that point. The 88, James Pankow. The 87, Richard Hines. And they make that one a bit worse off there at the tail end of things. Thankfully, most of the field gets through that, but you do have those few getting collected at the end. Richard Hines mostly, of course, the 3 as well. And man, that could have been a whole lot worse, but Tanner Sharp is really going to get the short end of the stick on this one. He just gets into the 00 on this restart, and there it is. His motor lets go, his engine lets go into turn 3 under pacing, and that's going to do it from the looks of things for the number 3.
Yeah, hate to see it. Just quick on those guys in the back. Maybe they just didn't want to risk maybe going down lower and maybe collecting a few more guys. Also, they maybe thought he was going to tow. Just very, very hard. You only have so many options. You only have a few seconds to make that decision, if even. And they're trying to get at the speed master their shifts and all that as well. Just a lot on their plate, so I cannot blame them one bit for getting into that accident.
Yeah, it's the old adage that NASCAR knows cautions breed more cautions, and that came true here. You see there's a lot of damage back there on the 5th and 6th place cars. I don't believe that's Vic Bloom and the 89 of Miller. Yeah, their front ends are a little scuffed up. That's going to hurt them here in the draft where, the it's not restrictor play, but still the draft plays such an important role at the big tracks like Daytona and Talladega. So unfortunately, that takes out a lot of good cars, it seems, that had a chance to probably put a W in the bank for them this early in the season.
All in all, though, like I said at the top of the show, man, it's hard to take evasive action with these 1987 NASCAR Cup cars, and they did a pretty darn good job of it right there, and most of the field did anyways. And so again, like I said, when they wreck, they usually wreck pretty big. That could have been much bigger. Thankfully, they all do their best to get through that without too much issue. And something that could have been pretty bad on a restart, it's still bad, but much better, I think, than it could have been. Again, if you're just tuning in here on SYM TV, well, first of all, we thank you for doing so. And if you're wondering where Kyle Heyer is, and I forget who we had in the booth with him last week, I think it was Connor Horn possibly. If you're wondering where they are, well, Kyle's actually driving through America's Heartland right now. I'm not sure exactly where he's at. We do have a lap car here of the number 9, I think, lining up to restart possibly on the inside of the field. But Kyle Heyer is currently driving through America's Heartland back from Colorado in his event at Pikes Peak with Grid Life. So we wish him, of course, safe travels getting back home in New York. It's certainly a drive to make, and thankfully, well, for us anyways, thankfully for us, his little schedule conflict actually puts us in the booth this evening. We're so thankful that 3 Wide and SYM TV considered us for this coverage this evening. That's why we're bringing it to you here on Pit Stop TV. We're live on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, as well as SYM TV's YouTube. So we thank you all for tuning in, no matter where you're watching from, and we hope you're enjoying as we get ready to go racing just past the 1/3 mark. 34 laps in the bank as we go back. Green flag racing. Race Clark, your race leader. It's Chad Frankenfield in second and Cameron Rich in third. The green flag flies. We're back at it at Daytona.
So it's going to be interesting to see. This time, Race Clark is able to get out to a pretty big lead on that outside line and not have to worry about an inside line. And that's actually a pretty big advantage. I'm very interested to see what decisions are made further back if Frankenfield and Rich aren't side by side when they catch that 22 again. Yeah, how about the 99 Vic Bloom? Wasn't he just falling back? And he's back up in the mix. So just like that, one yellow could fall your way as Cameron Rich going to the outside and 2 voracely possibly side by side for it now. And Frankenfield there in third. Oh, the sliding from the 22.
Yeah, these brand new tires, they didn't get a lap on them, so they're still a little cold. So slipping and sliding out of the turns is going to be something they have to deal with for the first couple of laps. But like you mentioned before, Vic Bloom, he had that big moment coming out of 4 where, the 32 in the wall there. But he's able to save it. But yeah, Vic Bloom, he was able to save the car from spinning out of 3 and 4, basically drifted it around the turns almost, fell back to the end of pretty much the second pack that we were looking at there before the caution came out, and was able to get through that incident and drive it back up to the front. And we have a challenge for the lead. It looks like the 15 is going to try and do a little contact there. He's going to try and put Race Clark to the test here, coming out and onto the drivable.
Door banging at Daytona has us thinking about 1979. Meanwhile, these guys are focused on 1987. Out of the tri-oval, they continue to lead side by side. Go Frankenfield and Clark down to turn 1. They're side by side, 2 rows deep, and then they have company from the lapped car of the number 9 of Nick Miller in this front little group, and the 52 of Kolb. These guys still going at it, nose to tail, side by side, and this is some great stuff. That car you saw slow a lap or so ago was Dustin Dewar. He controls his car, though. He gets it back going, and we continue on clean and green, just like that 15 car. Spinning in the back is the O2, and he collects Acosta.
Acosta again. It has not been his day. He's got a fast car. He's got the brains here at these super speedways, and it looks like we're not going to get a yellow. Looks like we're
no
gonna stay
yellow
green.
for the issue here with Llewellyn, and Llewellyn going to get back onto the racetrack. That's really going to hurt Carlos Acosta, but he will get back in the race nonetheless. They continue to battle up front. Race Clark still leading Emerson as Vic Bloom goes back on by Frankenfield.
Right, there was a moment they were off of turn 2, I guess, before Llewellyn and Acosta got together. And with a 52 of Kolb had a huge moment, tried to save the car. Actually, just fell out of the camera shot when that happened, and he's back into it. He keeps that car going. He's challenging for third here to the inside of Frankenfield.
Yeah, there's Vic Bloom right behind Race Clark. You see, he's going to try and probably stuck right behind him. The front end of that car is not going to help him much if he gets out in front. So I'm not sure if he's going to have much for the 22. Probably just going to try and stay right on his back bumper and keep pushing him to the lead for the moment. Gets right up on there. You can see he gives him a little bump draft. You see the wheel in the 22 car having to really work it as he gets that bump to hold the car straight as they come off of 4. There you see the back end of, or the front end of, sorry, of Vic Bloom.
There's all that nose damage to Bloom's machine. Remember, he had that big save through 3 and 4 not so long ago. Now lap 40 of 100. 4/10 of the way through this thing, just about. At least it will be when they cross the line the next time by. Frankenfield and Bloom so close, inches apart through 2. Thankfully, they keep it off of one another. That could have been, oh, they doorbang a bit down the backstretch. Man, these guys are leaning on each other so much. Thankfully, they can do that a bit. Here's Llewellyn slow on the bottom side. Oh, that could have been big. It still is going to be.
17 in the wall, able to keep it under control. There's another slow car up high the leaders have to deal with. Wow.
Oh, who is that? He just came down the racetrack a bit. The 88. That is the 88 of James Panko. He keeps it back up on the... Oh, here comes Cruz. Oh, my gosh. The Oneida Miller makes a big save. Oh, man, this is... Whew. That was something.
It's almost like we're street racing out here, the way we're passing these slower vehicles, but looks like no harm, no foul up front. Race Clark still holds on to it. Frankenfield not putting any more pressure than what he's been doing to that back bumper. Looking back outside once again, but he's going to just fall back in line here, try to muster up some runs, get that momentum built again in that 15 car.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be on who Vic Bloom tries to push here. It looks like he's going to stay on the bottom with Race Clark. It seems like he can give a very good push down the front stretch and the back stretch. You see it right there. He's right on the back bumper of Race Clark. Gives him a nice push into the turn. Pushes him out to about a 2-car length advantage over Frankenfield coming off of the turn.
Yeah, Vic Bloom not letting that damage hold him back all that much. In the draft, it's okay. I'm afraid of what it might do when he gets out there on his own, if he gets out there on his own. Now, he might be able to put himself in a position at the end of the race to still win with it. But, oh, contact door banging Frankenfield in the outside wall hard. Will he save it? I'm not so sure. Goes back through the field. Wow. I cannot believe it.
The car control these guys have for cars that are for cars that are so hard to control is shocking to me. These guys, they truly do have the talent to be wheeling these things around at these speeds, even with mistakes like that, or it was just intense racing, not even really a mistake. Cameron Rich got into the wall a couple laps ago entering turn 3, and he was fighting hard on that outside lane before the 15 caught the outside wall very off before the last lap.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate there for Frankenfield. He had such a strong car, was up at the front, got the lead. You could see just how fast he was, able to hold it up there on the outside, almost by himself over Race Clark there. Also, you did see a little bit of how Vic Bloom's damage is affecting him. He did have to get up the racetrack, and he started dropping back. That compromised Cameron Rich a little bit. Now you see him out on the outside by himself. He is going to get tucked in there behind the 48 of Velez.
Gets in behind Velez down the backstretch. Velez in fourth, a newcomer to the front of the field. We saw him a little bit in practice. He gets passed up easily by Rich. I think he's just trying to hang on right now and hold on to the track position he's got. These guys are nearing halfway, and up the racetrack goes Velez. He hangs on to it in the mellow yellow 48. Not so mellow right now. Now battle for the race lead. Here comes Justin Kolb. Brings the fight to Race Clark side by side across the line and out of the tri-oval. Now down into turn 1. Kolb has the point. Race Clark gets it back on the inside. What a great name to be racing with as well, Race Clark. Not just because it's Race, but it just rolls off the tongue so well. Race Clark in the Diet Dr. Pepper, the sweet one, the 22, down the backstretch, trying to get that lead back.
I think this type of racing is phenomenal in the sense that both lines have their advantages. Of course, the outside lane gets the run off the corner, the inside line the shortest way around, and it produces some fantastic side-by-side racing, lap after lap. And what more could you have asked for? Under the lights at Daytona, the sun has set. And as racers say, when the sun sets, the lap times come up, the speeds come up. And these cars will get harder to control. Oh, just to say that, the 52, big moment entering turn 1, able to hold on to it. And everybody just lift and recollect themselves. They'll be back up here in no time.
Yeah, that was a big moment. Good job hanging on to it there by Kolb. It does look like that's going to let the 4 cars up front escape a little bit. Kolb dives back in at the 5th place. But those top 4 cars able to get by that outside lane as they had to really check up. Slow car there. I believe that's the 27 of Cogswell. He's falling back like a rock. I'm not sure what's wrong with his car, but very unfortunate.
Yeah, he gets the fence off into 3. Thankfully, he keeps the car in the right direction. Man, these guys have had a lot of close calls like that, haven't they, Emerson? They are getting up into the fence. They are losing a little bit of control, and just big moments that could be so much worse. We do have a slow car up ahead. That is the number 1, the lap car now of Donovan Smith. He's already 1 lap down. This will put him 2 laps down in the Apple Computers Ford Thunderbird. He's going to get passed up here shortly. You're going to see the field come back into frame. There they are. Race Clark still in the lead. He's got Vic Bloom behind, and it's Nathan Velez in 3rd. Actually, new to the lead anyways. Lead battle is going to be Trevor Butler. And that number 12 looking pretty good. They check up on the bottom. There goes the 17 of Rich back around the 52 of Kolb.
A couple of things there. I was going to say that 12 of Butler, I believe he was in that first incident that brought out the first yellow on the back straightaway. And so he's back up here in 4th. Didn't take too much damage in that incident, just kind of made the opening contact to it. The 99 slides up the track, big time Vic Bloom trying to hold on to that car, and of course not going to turn as well with that front end damage. But I think the issue, or not really an issue, but what makes it harder passing these lapped vehicles is that these aren't like the current Cup cars. These cars, they're harder to drive. They're harder to keep glued to that inside lane. And for the lab car, it's harder to keep glued to that outside lane. So it kind of gives little, intense moments, jumps in heart rate, if you will, for these drivers when they catch up to slower vehicles, because it's a little less predictable than what we have now.
Yeah, it is. And I'm getting really impressed with the drive that Cameron Rich is having. He's holding that outside line by himself. I'm not sure if he's going to get any help at all. It looked like for a second there that the 57 machine, is that the 57? I believe so. It looked like he was going to get up there to help him a little bit, but they're all just kind of driving by him. But he's able to stay right with the top 3 cars all by himself on the outside. That is a really strong race car.
What's helping him is it's pretty tough to push, and if you can get the push to go right, you're gonna go miles, you're gonna go far, kid. But let me tell you, it is tough to actually give a bumper to somebody and not wreck him. That's the big thing. We saw Bloom get a bit squirrely about a lap or so ago, probably 2 laps ago now, and Rich gave him a shot in the shorts. It's easy to turn somebody around or even just get them sideways, and they're going to lose a lot of time. I mean, Bloom almost lost it in the tri-oval not so long ago, so you have to be very careful. Now, if you want to be safe, you're going to generally lift before you get at somebody. Maybe give them just the slightest nudge, but really just try to share that share the drag, and try to help that car along. That's how drafting works, right? You don't always have to bump draft. You can draft without bumping. It's a little tougher to do, so you don't go quite as far, but you can. And so that's what these guys are trying to do around the bottom side here, Emerson, because it is so tricky to push, especially once the tires are wearing out. We just crossed halfway. Race Clark, your leader at halfway, now on the back half of this race, and the tires are going back away. We've been racing for about 20 laps or so, about 15, I think, since the restart, as Kolb gets the fence, and he's going to drop back like a rock on the outside, gets passed up by about 5, probably 3 cars, actually, more on the way, though.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for him to make up these spots without a yellow or without pit stop jumbling things up, because everybody's starting to fall single files. The tire ages start to get up in those high 20s in terms of laps on green flag laps on the tires. The field's going to come by the 2 of I believe that's Acosta once again, and put him another lap down. That 48, he is either taking damage in an accident or he's been getting a lot of pushes. That back bumper, the right rear on that 48 car is all bent up. You can see it there on that onboard shot. I believe we're on board with the 99 of Vic Bloom. Look at it. You can't tell too much. It is completely dented there. He's been able to hold on to some pushes.
Yeah, that he has. And you see all these cars with some sort of damage on them up front here, and how racy they're being. And we did hear earlier, Andrew, that Race Clark was thinking about dropping to the back and just kind of riding around a little bit. But it looks like he's gotten just comfortable with being up in the lead here. Now he has a giant lead of about 4 car lengths. It'll close down quick, though, with the draft. But any idea what? Maybe he's just comfortable with the lead there, Andrew, and doesn't want to give it up?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's kind of like Nathan Velez. He wasn't in this battle earlier, but you can't really back out at this point because it's so hard to get all that track position back. If we had had a series of yellows, I think if you race Clark, Nathan Velez, you drop back. But at this point, we're starting to get down to the nitty-gritty. We're going to have a pit stop or 2, maybe to the end, and really, you just got to take what you can get. You've got this track position. Why give it up now? Because you've got to start thinking about the end game of this race. While, yes, we're still 45, 46, 47 laps away, you just got to start thinking about it a little bit because you've got to set yourself up. And with these cars, strategy matters so much more than it used to in the NASCAR Cup cars. Actually, really, I should say so much more than it does now because you've really got to think out your whole race. I do want to fall back in the top 10 a little bit, talk about some of the rest of the field. Brent Miller, actually the last car in the top 10 right now in that number 89, 5-star race bodies down the side of that machine. He's got Kevin Finn up behind him, who was in an incident not so long ago with Brady Smith, who did that blowover into 3, if you recall. William Cruz come back here as well. We see the double O of Corey Lindsey recovering somewhat decently. He's up into 13th right now. Eric Mickey from towards the back of the field, actually the last car that gridded and started dead last, 34th in this race. Currently in 14th, Emerson, Nick Boyd rounding out the top 15.
Yeah, Nick Boyd was also in that opening incident as well. I believe he went he was part of the initial contact and then went around into that grass. So for him to make it back up into the top 15, Kevin Finn 11th, and of course Butler contending for the top 5 in P6, able to recover nicely from that incident. Of course, you can't say the same for the 20 who blew over in that accident, but yeah, he's actually out of the race. But yeah, it shows that these cars, that they're strong. They're almost built like tanks. Just able to kind of take more damage than you probably would now. Aerodynamics again weren't as important as they were. Now, of course, they're always going to be important in racing, but not as important as they are today. Where we talk about yaw and the littlest dent on these fenders in current Cup cars would almost have you out of contention to stay in the draft. I mean, so it really is showing quite a difference in the tolerance level of damage these 87 cars to the current Cup cars.
Yeah, and it's funny, Emerson, how you compared them to being as strong as a tank, because I'm sure that these drivers now are saying that these things drive like a tank. I'm sure that the tires are starting to go away. We're kind of reaching that point where we got last run before the yellow came out on the life of the tires, and everybody was starting to slip and slide around, beat and bang each other. It's getting right about that same amount of laps that we've run on this set of tires under green flag now, and it's starting to heat up again. We got the 17 who's worked his way by himself back on the outside, trying to get around the 48 of Velez there. Cameron Rich, I mean, he's letting it hang out, and I'm just really impressed with the drive he's having. Also with Vic Bloom there, having been saving the car earlier in the race, dropping back into the mid-teens, mid-teens, and then fighting his way back up to the front.
We saw a plane land in the background there down the backstretch. I think these drivers might prefer a tank at this point because you'd have a larger contact patch with the rubber to the racetrack if you were to smooth the tracks out. But anyways, these cars definitely can take a beating, and they are doing so this evening. That is the number 63 up ahead. I'll find the 63 back on my list. That's Mike Stevens they're going to lap. He is currently in 25th, so now 24 cars on the lead lap. They squeeze to get on by, and they get on by. Trying to look through some of the rest of the field. Frankenfield, who we were talking about a lot earlier, and really livened this race up not so long ago. The Philadelphia Eagles 15 has dropped into 23rd. Cogswell is up ahead of him. Jonathan Cogswell racing right now with Jordan McAvoy. That's the one car, rather, of Donovan Smith. Jordan McAvoy ahead of him. There's the 21 of McAvoy. He is currently in 21st. Jeffy Fisher up ahead of him. Those guys teammates, as well as the 09 of James Miller. So just trying to cover some of the rest of the field. Cameron Rich still battling on the outside. And a new fastest lap, Gruenberg goes purple.
Yeah, Gruenberg was able to do that on, those are old tires. I think he was able to do that. So just the draft here, he's a single file. He's getting, I think, a huge draft off the large pack ahead of him. And it shows still, drafting in the sense that it still has the exact same effect in terms of lap time. I mean, he is cooking back here, and he's, I think this is on purpose back here to kind of ride this far off the pack. He's in the draft, but he's not like in the pack, and this is just avoid getting damaged. If he's not contending for the lead, might as well play it safe and until later, and until it's go time, just kind of hang back. And of course, maybe on fresh tires it'll also be something of note to see if he'll try to work up, because of how hard it is to pass on these older tires. As we're seeing Cameron Rich, I mean, he is putting up a valiant effort on that outside lane, but it's quickly fading. Not quickly, but it's starting to fade just because he's got no help, and the tires are getting older. But it'll be interesting to see how long Gruenberg is back there, a pole sitter.
Yeah, and Gruenberg has experience with that from the Clash races that they ran last week to qualify for this race. Gruenberg didn't have any stake. He already had the pole, so he kind of fell to the back. Just took his time, kind of got experience in falling back and seeing what it took to drive back up through the field. So maybe he's using that experience that he learned in the previous race that really didn't have a meaning for him to be able to possibly pull out a win on this one.
So Gruenberg going purple, making some headlines. We've got a car. I heard some crashing. I don't know who's slow. Oh, it's Dustin Duran, turn 4. Thankfully escapes before the field goes yellow here. We'll try and see what happens to the number 32. He's racing with Frankenfield, and sideways goes around it. Oh, man. Hits that wall really, really hard in turns 3 and 4. But the fact that he was within draw distance of the leaders and he was with Frankenfield shows us that Frankenfield is about to go a lap down. In fact, he's only a little ways ahead, and we'll look from the back end here of Frankenfield's car. You can just see in the background the leader starting to catch Chad, and that will put him a lap down when they get there. In fact, we'll look from the nose now of Race Clark. You can see Frankenfield a dot in the distance, but getting closer and closer as the laps tick on here, Emerson.
Yeah, I just looked at my timing score, and I'm sad to say Carlos Acosta has now fallen out of the race. He wasn't going to be competitive without the draft and the damage that he had to his car. Actually, I'm not sure how much damage he took, because it looked like there were only a couple spins, but definitely losing the draft hurts. And once you fall behind a certain point, there's almost no point in contending. There's also if you fall behind over 6 laps behind, you're no longer allowed to race in the event.
Yes, I was going to mention the 6-11 rule. So if you drop 6 laps down or more at a track over 1 mile, you are parked. You are considered to be too far gone at that point, and that sounds pretty bad, but that's how they limit those lap cars getting in the way and such. They limit that lap traffic, and on tracks under 1 mile, it is 11 laps that you have to lose before you are done. So if you go over 6 laps down, that's it. Unfortunately, you are done. They call it the 6-11 rule here in the 3-wide Cold Heart Art Cup Series, and honestly, not that bad of a rule. It's interesting, I think, and one that I think everybody should maybe consider, give some thought to. But we do have a lap car just ahead of these guys to go just 1 lap down. He's got some breathing room before that 6-11 rule applies to him. Frankenfield holds the bottom side, forces our race leader up the racetrack. Race Clark is going to go, and Bloom gets to the wall. They're wrecking.
Oh no, Vic Bloom. He was up there. He was contending to the inside wall, and it's only a 1 or 2 car incident off the racing surface. So I believe we're gonna stay green, which is not what Frankenfield wanted. He'll now fall 1 lap down. We get a replay here. He just catches the wall there a little too high, and he collected Cameron Rich as well. And bang into the inside wall.
And you know what, Devin, real quick, that's why you have to be so careful in these cars. We talked about it already. They're so hard to drive, and Devin right there, he checks his steering, goes up the racetrack a bit too much, and he's up in the fence.
Yeah, I believe it was the checkup for Frankenfield there. They were all trying to get around him as safely as possible. Just checked up a little too much. The car steps out. And these cars, when they do step out, it's kind of like a magic switch goes on, and it's uncontrollable. So once it was going around, he was pretty much all he could do was just maybe scrape the wall a little bit. Unfortunately, the 17 of Cameron Rich was right there. And that's really going to hurt Cameron Rich's chances going in this race. It does look like we have a long train of cars going down the back stretch. Nobody stepping out of line, seeing all the carnage that's taking place, probably just trying to get to within maybe 20 to go before they try to make a move.
Yeah, these guys trying to think their race out from this point on. We should be within striking distance of the end of the race now. These guys should be within their fuel window at any point in time. In fact, they definitely are. So we've got a one-stopper to the end, and that's going to change the way these guys attack things because they don't have to think any further. They just got to make their one pit stop. Then, do you take tires? If so, how many tires do you take? Of course, these pit stops a bit different than you might usually see for your NASCAR Cup cars. Some different timings as now Zelensky goes to the outside. Levi Zelensky bringing the fight to these race leaders. He goes up there, and he's teammates with Bloom, and now his teammate gone, but I believe he's in there with Nathan Velez as well. So those two working together now, second and third. They're going to bring the fight too wide to Reese Clark, who now pits out of turn 4. He's going to bring Butler with him. They pit down the front stretch, and that's their strategy right there. So, like I said, in their fuel window, and they're going to pit soon. We'll see how many tires they take. We'll stay with race leader Race Clark for a moment. We'll see how many tires he takes here, Emerson.
You would consider taking 2 tires, especially, with current Cup cars, but these cars, they're so hard to control. Those right sides for sure are worn out, but with how loose they're getting off of these corners, I can't imagine those left sides are in good enough shape to go another 30 laps on top of about 40 laps they've already made. I mean, there's 4 tires going on the leaders. So here come more drivers to the pit lane.
Yeah, they're all going to start diving in now. What we saw there was the 22 and the 12 of Trevor Butler, the 22 of Race Clark. Both of them teammates diving in together to hopefully keep some semblance of a draft going so they don't lose too much time when they come back out of the pits. Good strategy call by that team. It also looks like the 97, you said before, Andrew, the 97 and the 48 teammates there, probably going to try and come in together and keep a draft going themselves. We'll see as they come on to 3 and 4 if they're going to dive in off of 4.
Yes, the Rebel Racing teammates of Zelensky and Velez stand together. We'll see if they pit this time. They do. They're bringing Kolb with them as well as Cruz because Zelensky way down to the inside wall where Bloom hit the wall a little while ago. And he finally gets down into pit lane. Oh, but Kolb to the inside of Velez. That messes him up. Man, it's so hard to pit under green here because of that exact reason. You're pitting as other guys are pitting. You're coming in sometimes 3, 4 abreast, and you've got to try and sort out who's going to go where and who's going to get into their box first. And, I mean, it's tough. Now we have a race lead battle. It's Lindsay and Finn. These two have both been involved in incidents this evening, battling amidst the pit stops. Lindsay gets ahead for now. They've got Finn, Boyd, Mickey, and Boyd again, the top 5.
Yeah, both of the Boyds up here. Looks like they're going to go a little bit longer. I believe these were the drivers who came in on that second on that second caution off of the restart. Of course, Corey Lindsay, the star of that yellow, if you will, the one going around contact with the 3 car and then the 2 cars towards the back who got into the accident as well. Kevin Finn, Nick Boyd, all of these drivers were in caution, so I assume they were at the back of the field, and they just came in and topped off, and they can go a couple laps longer.
Yeah, they had the luxury of having that little extra stop to possibly get a little extra fuel. Also, the luxury of the draft being that far back, as we see the final 3 cars of that pack pull off. The first 3 cars, that's the 74 of
Whoa, Boyd! Wow, what a catch.
I'm not sure if he was speeding there. We'll see when he comes back out. I was going to say it was looking squirrely to get that car slowed down.
Yeah, that was a really great catch by Nick Boyd, pitting with Alex Boyd, Eric Mickey, and more that time by. Now we've got Lindsay and Finn still on the racetrack with the lapper of the number 9. I'm going to find who that is again. The number 9 being piloted by, that is Nick Miller, my bad there. Nick, if you come back and watch, I'm sorry that I don't know who you are yet, but we're still figuring you guys out. They'll finally come. No, just the 14 of Finn this time. Kevin Finn on his own. That is the worst thing that can happen to a driver at a plate track at a super speedway, pitting on your own. You have nobody to draft with. You have to hope that you cycle out into a group of cars.
Yeah, it's going to be scary because if he doesn't come out in the pack, it's basically game over. You see here, Corey Lindsey's coming up on drivers who are coming off the pit lane here. And that is actually, those are the drivers who were just in this lead pack. So everybody is one lap down except Kevin Finn, who's on pit lane. So when do we expect this 00 to come in? I can't imagine he'll stay out any longer. Yet he's coming in now, and he'll have the 9 of Nick Miller by his side as they come down to pit road speed.
Yeah, those were both team blurry cars right there, the 00 and the 9. Probably looked like they hung out, I believe it was Kevin Finn. They hung him out to dry there, playing a team strategy call, seeing that Finn was going to drop down, chose to stay out one extra lap. But that's going to cycle back our normal leaders. We'll see where the 00 comes out, but I can't believe that he will retain the lead when he gets back out.
Well, second place is now Nick Boyd, and this is interesting. We've got some slower pit stops here than the rest of the field, so going a bit light on fuel, and that's why they pitted that second time around, that second caution on those leaders that did not. That's going to hurt them now. So playing pit strategy is going to change things up here. Nick Boyd, Alex Boyd, your race leaders. They've got Eric Mickey from the back of the grid to now the top 3 with a couple of Boyds racing it out. 26 to go that time by. One constant, a couple of constants actually, are going to be Justin Kolb and Cameron Rich. Otherwise, the entire front of the field completely blown to pieces. Drew Eisenman does now move up into about 6th spot. We'll try and get back to him. Here he is. He's in this battle as well. Corey Lindsey up here, he cycles out into 7th. He's got Kruzka behind. Then you have Race Clark, who came in as the race leader. Brent Miller, the 89 to 3-1 out of 4. Vic Bloom in this. Oh, contact! Trouble for teammate Zielinski out of the apron. Does he come back on? He does. Wow, he hangs on to it.
What a save! These drivers, they have talent. That is being put on display tonight. You don't think of Daytona requiring this oval at least requiring talent to drive, but
something's broken on the 97. He's still slow on the bottom of the racetrack. Something's broken. That contact must have been wheel to wheel. Must have bent something because he is slow.
No, maybe I would hope for the best here, and that maybe he just kept it in high gear and didn't downshift to try to stay with the pack here. Not entirely sure as he tries to keep his speed up here in the 3 and 4.
Yeah, we'll see if he dives in the pits.
Right, there's a big one up ahead, and it's going to involve it's going to involve William Kruzka. That car is destroyed on the front stretch here. Whew, man, it all comes to the end, and those pit stops suddenly, they don't really even matter because now you've got to figure out what you want to do here. Do you take some tires and get some more grip? Oh, maybe some help into the tri-oval here. We'll go back and get a look at things. He had Race Clark up underneath his rear end, and we'll see what happens off into the tri-oval. This is lap 76 of 100, and there Clark gets right back to him and just hooks him. Nothing intentional, just trying to bump draft. Oh, yeah, and he hits it again. Oh, who was that?
Oh, no. Yeah, they were already a little ways back. The only way they were going to make up time was trying to bump draft. And, you know how much Clark was trying to get back up there to contend for this win. And, yeah, just a little bit of contact with the 6, and we'll see who collided with him here on this replay.
Yeah, that was a big hit on the outside wall by the 6 car. We're going to watch him now. Looks like everybody's getting through there for the moment. This guy's going in the grass, trying to stay out of the way. There's the car that hits
Oh, it's
him.
the 11. The 11 machine of one Skylar Nizzle gets him. And man, you have to imagine that he had no clue. We'll get a replay from Nizzle's on board. He's racing here with Butler, Velez. He goes up the racetrack, loses some spots. There goes Gruenberg, and I think one more goes by before he gets a chance to drop in line. That's Fisher. And so he's going to fall in behind those guys. And you see the wreck up ahead. And yeah, he just runs out of room. Yeah. It just happens all in an incident. I do want to get the onboard here of Race Clark and see his point of view racing with Kruska and just see it from his end. I mean, right here, a little bit of contact, and you know what? It doesn't help either. Two things, actually. The front end of these Ford Thunderbirds, a bit pointed, just like the 2018-2019 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1s, the NASCAR Cup Series, a bit pointed on the nose, but also that rear end damage on the 6. He just happened to catch that part of the bumper where there was a little bit of leverage for him to turn that 6 car around. Again, nothing intentional, very unfortunate that he turns William around into the wall like that, but man, that's sometimes the way it goes when you're racing like that. Nose to tail trying to bump draft here at Daytona in these 1987 era Cup cars. Before we go back green flag racing, since we've got a chance, Emerson, I'm going to turn it over to you to thank some of our partners. We've got Tucson Sound Art, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, and Whiplash Media.
Right, of course. So we'll have Whiplash Media. No, yeah, well, Tucson Sound Out. I'm sorry. Your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and we will custom create a beautifully framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Make sure you visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional info. Next up, we'll have Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. And when it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. Here at Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Bullier, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. If you're looking for the best solutions for your PMU concerns, give us a call today to book a consultation. You can contact us at permanentmakeupinmaine.com, or you can call or text us at 207-358-8683. And if you visit our Facebook page, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, you will see that we do monthly giveaways. And if you submit your entry, who knows? You might just win. And finally, we have Whiplash Media. Pitstop TV's new parent organization, Whiplash Media, specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing, such as photography, social media management, and public relations. So check them out. Make sure you go to whiplash-media.com.
Thank you, Emerson. And of course, as I mentioned, we were at, actually, I don't think I mentioned this. No, Whiplash Media and Pitstop TV, we were at Charlotte Motor Speedway this past weekend with the Lucky Dog Racing League, a league that we broadcast here on Pitstop TV, and their real racing division. We were there with David Levine Racing. And not only were we on David's car, we were on a few other cars throughout the field. And David's car, who we do the social media posts for and we get pictures for and we work for, won last night in class, in B class, at Charlotte in the 10-hour enduro, came second in the 7-hour, in two different sessions, 7-hour race Friday night into Saturday morning. It was a great weekend. We got a ton of pictures. You can contact Whiplash Media if you want to buy any of those pictures. Trey Shuttlesworth, an amazing photographer. He does a lot of work with us as well. He got some amazing shots. You can buy any of those from him via Whiplash Media. That all said, we have 20 laps to go, Emerson. The green flag comes back out. 81. Well, lap 81, rather, of 180 in the books, and we've got some lap cars up here with the leaders.
I was just about to say, this is going to make things interesting. All these lap cars on the inside, and there was a good chunk of them. The 77, Drew Eisenman, he stayed out on that caution, along with Kevin Finn, and that got him the race lead here. He'll be trying to draft with that 09 to kind of help him get away from the drivers behind.
Yeah, it looks like the top 14 cars stayed out on that caution. And the first car that came in was the 74, who was the leader of the race before the caution. It does look like the 77, though, has a little bit of damage, but he's able to pull away a little bit from the pack using that lap car of the 09 as somewhat of a drafting partner. Oh, some walls that we get to this line there. A couple guys sideways.
We have the 00 off pace. I think a few others slow out of the tri-oval. McAvoy gets some damage. He's slow into one. We keep racing, and we have more wadding him up. There it is, the 9. Nick Miller is in it. Zelensky, Bloom, and more involved in turn number 2. I see Nizzle in this mess. Big junk with 19 laps to go. We'll get a replay. There it is. Bloom gets... I think turned around to start all of it. Oh my gosh, see, we got to go all the way back here. So this is in the tri-oval, and I hit the wrong button. We'll go back and get a couple of looks as to what happens here. This is slow-mo. We're going to start out by looking at the number 99. This is Vic Bloom. There's a lot to digest, and so we're just going to try and get as much as we can, piece all of this together. It's going to be tough. So this is Vic Bloom through 1 and 2. There was some more that happened in the tri-oval. We'll try and get that here momentarily. Bloom just gets loose on the bottom side. He just gets loose, comes up into the 89. The 89 again is, if I can find him, track him down, that is Brent Miller, and you can see it's on from there, involves the number 10 car. That is Alex Boyd, we were talking about not so long ago. Nick Boyd as well, Eric Mickey. They almost had the best pit stop strategy in the field to win this race. They're all involved, Nick Miller as well. You see the 11 of Nizzle. Here comes Levi Zelensky, nowhere to go down to the bottom side of the racetrack. Looks like he'll end up getting Nick Boyd, trying to miss all of this. Yep, there it is. He gets Nick Boyd, and they make heavy contact. Big stuff here in turns 1 and 2, and Nizzle gets a piece of Zelensky right there at the end. We also had some other stuff happening well before that. There you go. You see some cars up in the wall. So that's going to start off, it looks like, with the 00, and I think it was the 21 car. Let me double check on that. And that's the 21, yeah, McAvoy. So we'll see what happens here in the tri-oval, Emerson.
Yeah, you have the nice overhead shot here, kind of getting it. We go to slow-mo. You see Corey Lindsay in the middle of a 3 wide here. I think it was trying to...
What do you know? That was with Vic Bloom on the inside.
Ooh. Yeah, I was going to say, I was over here, I was watching the replays. I'm like, looks like a lot of these incidents were caused just because there was a chunk of lap cars in the mix who may not have, who may not be fully... race ready with some of the damage they may have taken throughout the race, and maybe going a little bit slower, checking up portions of the pack, possibly leading up to these incidents. And unfortunately, I think that's exactly what happened, not once but twice.
Yeah, that's this is the back to the old 1980s NASCAR rules, where the lap cars actually were the cars to start on the inside lane to possibly give them a chance to get their lap back. That was in NASCAR for a very long time. It was replaced eventually by the lucky dog rule, but being that this is a 1987 car series, they have reverted back to that 1987 rule that puts the lap cars on the inside for all the restarts to give them that chance to get their laps back.
And it's a solid rule. I like those restarts, but that's exactly what that creates, is trying to race around some lap cars, and sometimes they get in the way, and that's exactly what happens. It stacks everybody up. But it's pretty much just the same as trying to race, coming to a restart, double file, and everybody going at it. So everything has its pros and cons, I would say. We do want to see if we can talk to another driver here under this caution flag period. It looks like we can queue up our race leader. It's Drew Eisenman, and, well, Emerson, I'll turn it right back over to you.
All right, so as we get Drew Eisenman queued up here, actually, he's here. So, Drew Eisenman, this is the Pit Stop TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right, so interesting strategy there. You were kind of riding up front, and then that initial caution came out after all those pit stops and all. and some drivers pitted. What was kind of your thought process to kind of stay out here? Just track position?
I got caught up in that kind of stack up just after the tri-oval on a restart early on in the race, and I've just really struggled carrying momentum through the corners, and so I figured this is my only shot. I took right sides under the green flag stops, and that helped me I was having a real big problem with being tight on entry, and so it's handling as good as it's handled since that wreck happened, so I'm going to put myself in the best position possible to try to win this race.
All right, so I think a talking point that we'll have for a bit here for this race is these lap cars to the inside. It's a great rule. Obviously, it's throwing it back to the original NASCAR rules and all. But it looks like you are one of the few drivers who are able to advantage from those lap cars.
Yeah, I think the leader's always going to have an advantage in that situation, right? Even like that I don't know, the purple car, I don't remember the number, got in front of me, but I actually was able to like push him and kind of separate myself from Kevin there. So it worked out really well. But I think naturally on every restart, the leader's going to have an advantage.
Right, so it looks like we're coming to green here, so we'll let you go. Real quickly, if you have anybody to thank, go ahead and shout them out.
Guys, 3 wide, Eyes and Designs. Thanks.
Green flag, green flag.
And I rejoin you guys now. We had a whole mix-up there trying to get Drew back in the booth. Thankfully, we've got Emerson back in the booth. Emerson went down, and it's a mess. Regardless, sometimes technology is difficult to operate despite doing it over and over and over again. 15 laps to go. Eisenman leads. He gets clear of Grunberg and Finn. That's your race lead battle, actually. That whole top 3. You see Fisher, he's up there for the lead as well. The first lap car is that 63 car down on the bottom side, and that is Stevens, Mike Stevens in the 63 pass the lead. Grunberg back to the point.
I think it's important to note Grunberg was at the back of the pack before green flag pit stops, and then, kind of got shuffled into the middle of the pack. Then we had a slew of yellows, and guess who's back? It's our pole sitter, Grunberg, with that 98 car that he stuck so truly to this whole race. 14 laps to go, and it's just been a phenomenal drive, up, down, and back up through the field.
Yeah, that 98 of Fisher, Jeff Fisher and Gruenberg there, they're both teammates. That's why they're sticking right on each other's bumper. The 77 is going to get a nice run back to him, be able to stay with him. I think initially that damage on the front of his car was hurting him a little bit and allowed Gruenberg and Fisher to clear him very easily. But with the draft now, he should stay right with him. Maybe just try to stay with him until the last lap. Oh, caution, it's coming out.
Behind. Zelensky involved again, the number 97 spinning into the grass. 13 laps to go. These guys are racing for it, Emerson, and you see the product of it. Levi Zelensky, I think, well, does he get... Yeah, he gets loose on his own, and Lindsay gets into the back of him and collects... Oh, man. Big hits for those two. Really, really hate to see that for both of these guys. Zelensky and Lindsay were both doing a great job of keeping their cars in one piece until just recently, where they've had nowhere to go these last couple of times. And this is the product of, again, racing it out, 13 laps to go, trying to get everything he can. Zelensky just a bit sideways, overcorrects, that car leans, and then Lindsay trying to keep off of him, just can't quite keep off of him, sends him the rest of the way around.
Yeah, both of these drivers have already been in at least one incident today, and it's just not been a great day for this 97, this 00. Of course, Corey Lindsay was up front and battling for the race lead at the very early stages of the race, but ever since it's not been a good day. Corey Lindsay took a little bit of damage in that accident, but it'll be just outside the top 15, and we'll have about 10 laps to go when we go back to racing. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to make any moves with maybe his slightly damaged 00.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Lindsay. Like you said, he was up at the front for a while, got a little loose, hit the wall, had to drop back, and has just been very unlucky. And sometimes, that's what it comes down to at these big tracks like Talladega and Daytona. Yeah, not only do you need to be a good driver, but sometimes you just need the luck to fall your way, and it's just not his night, it seems like tonight. Very unfortunate. He did have a very strong race car. It has been beat up a little bit, but he is able to stay up to the front, to that front pack for most of the race. Just very unfortunate being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Watching the replay from the onboard of Lindsay, we saw the onboard from Zelensky. Man, that's how quickly it happens sometimes. And even racing in the back of the field. Remember, we talked about Race Clark thinking he wanted to go further back. Well, I don't think that's quite the strategy to go with. I don't think you're really safe anywhere, Emerson, despite thinking, yeah, I mean, you can go to the back, relax. I don't think there's a safe spot on this racetrack when you get to racing like this. So I think that just proves that you've just got to race it out. There's just no safe spot. Anything can happen anywhere. Grunberg, Fisher, teammates up at the front. They've got control of this race. Eisenman, the first threat to that, in the Eisentech number 77. He's got Finn to the back end of him, and I want to recall who his teammates that is. Eisenman's teammate, Finn, right up behind him in the 14 car. So Kevin, Finn, Drew Eisenman, they're working together. Matt Grunberg, Jeffrey Fisher, they're working together. And then you've got Kolb getting into the mix, Justin Kolb and Justin Velez. They're not teammates. I know that much at least. Sorry, Nathan Velez, not Justin Velez. Trevor Butler in 7th, James Miller in 8th, Michael Goodman in 9th, and Race Clark, we talked about him, in 10th place.
Now, one thing I've noticed, we've had multi-car incidents, but none of these incidents we've had have had more than 5 cars, I believe. Maybe a little damage here and there. So most of these cars are still up here. We have 21 on the lead lap with Frankenfield. We can still wad up a good chunk of these cars here as the intensity is going to pick up here. I wish we don't, but the intensity has been picking up front. The top 2, they hooked up and they got away. And further back, they're probably scrambling. How are you going to stay with these 2? So it's still a high possibility that we're not done wadding these things up.
Yeah, I think the person who's feeling probably a little bit of pressure, but also feeling a sense of relief is the 54 machine of Gruenberg. He has his teammate right behind him on this restart. It's a single file restart. Like we said, the lap cars come to the inside. But for the most part, these 2 guys, when they get hooked up, they are very fast together. So they should be able to get around both or any of the lap cars that are below them, get out to a nice lead and try to run away with this thing. Just make it a 2-horse race, possibly for the finish. I'm sure they wouldn't mind that at all. But I know that those guys behind him, Eisman, Finn, Kolb, Velez, they're all hungry. They all want this win.
Absolutely. You see Grunberg, Fisher warming up their tires, figuring out how they want to attack this restart. We've got 10 laps to go, coming to the restart for 9 to go. Again, if you're just tuning in, if you're just catching the back end of the 3-wide Cold Hard Art Cup Series, say that 5 times fast. Tuning in on SYM TV, wondering why it's not Kyle Heyer in the booth, wondering why you're seeing different graphics and such. Well, welcome to Pit Stop TV. We're so happy to be bringing this coverage to you. Kyle Heyer is driving through America's heartland, trying to get home in New York after his event with the Grid Life Cup Series, I think the Grid Life Drift Series rather, in Colorado at Pikes Peak International. So we got the call up to the big leagues, I suppose, for the 3-Wide Racing League and SYM TV. So we're simulcasting the Pit Stop TV and SYM TV this evening. We're coming to the restart, 9 laps to go. Green flag back in the air, Emerson Ardon, and they're racing it out. 9 laps to go, a 9-lap sprint.
You'll notice no lap cars to the inside. The old rules, of course, within 10 laps to go, lap cars will not line up to the inside, and that is going to breathe a sigh of relief to these leaders up front. Of course, the 2 teammates of Gruenberg and Fisher get hooked up. 77-14, not so much, but they're still up here. It looks like at the moment a 4-horse race. We'll see if anybody else is able to use that draft to get up here to 52 of Kolb. Will be trying to do that.
Yeah, Kolb's trying to get back to the draft. He's lost it just a little bit there in the 5th place. He will get a nice run off the turn if he can keep it right behind the 14 machine of Finn there. It does look like these guys are still on a little bit of cold tires, a little slipping and sliding, but they're able to hold it, get through this trioval. And it does look like it's going to be a 3-horse race as we have 8 laps to go.
Racing off throughout the top 10, and this is looking like one of those old super speedway races where the field gets a bit spread out. You have pockets of cars racing one another. This pocket right here, led by Kevin Finn, you got Justin Kolb, Trevor Butler in there, James Miller as well, even Nathan Velez. These 5 cars going at it. That is about 4th through 8th or so. Race Clark a little further back, and even in 10th place, actually, that is Michael Goodman joining the fray in the number 44 car. We've seen him on and off this evening. The 44 is suddenly in the top 10, looking pretty darn good. The leaders sort things out. They're in line. The top 3 just riding for now. 7 laps to go that time by the stripe. There it is. Fisher, fastest lap on the racetrack. We talked about Grunberg going purple a while ago. His teammate now, Fisher, goes purple that lap.
It's showing you just how glued that 98 is to the back bumper. The 54 following every inch of that back bumper all around the track. And to the inside goes the 98. He falls back in line, and I'm sorry, false alarm. He really did look like he was trying to peek down there, Vo. Yeah, these top 3, they're starting to pull away. It was no gap greater than a second amongst the top 10, but now it's no gap greater than a second amongst the top 3.
Yeah, those top 3 have been hooked up. They're staying nose to tail, and they're able to drive away from the second pack that is racing each other pretty hard. The 09 of Miller is just kind of hanging it out there by himself. I think that's doing a little bit more of hindrance than it is of trying to help his cause. I'm not sure if he just doesn't want to stay behind some of the cars that may have damage, maybe try to, hinder his race a little bit. I'm not sure, but hopefully they're going to get it lined back up nice and tight, make a long train and try and run down these leaders, as they only will have 5 laps to go when they hit the straight, as the leaders come off turn 4 and head for the trioval.
Well, Devin, just like Race Clark said a while ago, man, they're racing for season points. Wins are great, but if you can get a few points right here, it's going to go a long ways to carry you to a season championship. So James Miller, teammates to our couple of leaders, 1 and 2. He's just got to get what he can. Kolb loose on the inside, saves it. Now contact, they go around. Big trouble inside the top 10. Inside now, 5 laps to go, waiting on the yellow. Are we not going to get one? Insane. That is, wow, and that's not on the race admins or anything. That is on iRacing's caution detection. That is insane. We'll have to come back to that incident a little while later if we can. Right now, though, Grunberg, Fisher, Eisenman, your top 10. That second group, very split up. Miller on his own. Velez kind of on his own. He's got Butler a little ways behind, and Goodman now on his own. Kevin Finn in the back of him. Brent Miller, he's leading really the first group you have after those leaders. We've got Brent Miller, we've got Alex Boyd, Jonathan Cogswell, Cameron Rich in this group. We've got Jordan McAvoy, Mike Stevens as well. And you saw the one there of Donovan Smith, I want to say. Yes, Donovan Smith in the one. Meanwhile, your race leaders coming to 3 laps to go. 3 cars are going to go at it.
You spend all race trying to set yourself up to be in this position, and what just happened a lap or so ago with the incident further back with Kolb and Clark separating the draft that was behind them is exactly what this top 3 wanted. There's no threat out back. The only thing is, if you're Eisen, you gotta be, these 2 are teammates. What are you gonna do to win this race?
And not only your teammates not only are you trying to be teammates up there, but he also has a very damaged race car. I know these things are tanks, but I think when he gets out there on his own and puts that clean air on his nose, it's just not going to go the way it should, and he's not going to get the amount of run that he would have off the turn. But it's going to be even difficult with the bit race car. But yeah, since you have teammates, I think all he's going to hope is that these teammates try to race each other. And then maybe that allows him to poke his nose down there and give him a nice little drag race to the line.
These 3 cars have separated themselves. There's fighting throughout the rest of the field. In fact, we got 3 cars battling: Trevor Butler, Nathan Velez, and Michael Goodman. For right now, we're going to stay on the race leaders. Emerson, 1.5 laps to go.
All right, it'll be nose to tail down the back straightaway. Now, if you're Jeff Fisher, what are you going to do? Your teammates, if you're going to win this race, your best bet is to stay glued to him until about halfway down the back straight, or until you get to the back straight at the very least, to maybe try to keep that 77 out of it. But how late do you wait to make a move for the race win if you're going for the race win, or is it just Gruenberg from pole to checkered flag here? We're on the final lap here at Daytona. I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, here they come. Final lap. I think you're right, Emerson. If the 98's going to make a move, it's going to have to be off of turn 2 so he can set up turn 3 and 4 to give his teammate a nice run to the line. Let's see what he does. They come down the backstretch. He is right on the back of the bumper. I'm not sure if he's looking to pull out. He stays right on him.
Down the Daytona super stretch, turns 3 and 4, Fisher makes his move. He goes to the inside of Gruenberg. He's going to get the spot easily. Not even a fight. Gruenberg back to second place. Can they figure something out? Eisenman going to get second. Drag race to the line for first, second, and third. Fisher wins Daytona. Eisenman second, and it's Gruenberg in third. They wreck at the line.
Around goes Gruenberg. Eisenman got loose. He went to the apron just trying to seek out that second position, and it paid off. Everyone back at James Miller, P4, Trevor Butler, P5, Nathan Velez, P6, Michael Goodman, P7, Brett Miller, P8, Cogswell, 9th, and McAvoy, P10.
Yeah, then Kevin Finn is bringing it home 11th. Cameron Risch, 12th. Mike Stevens, 13th. Alex Boyd, 14th. Corey Lindsay gets 15th. Chad Frankenfield, who had a lot of trouble in the middle part of this race, is able to drive it back to the lead lap and pull home a 16th place. Race Clark, who was unfortunately involved in that incident that didn't get a yellow flag thrown with 5 laps to go, brings it home 17th. Skylar Nissel, he brings it home 18th. Nick Miller, 19th. Justin Kolb, 20th.
We'll get full race results here after some driver interviews, but right now, all eyes to race leader. He's going to get a congratulatory visit here from second place finisher Drew Eisenman. And we'll be talking to him again shortly. Gruenberg as well, Fisher as well. We'll be talking to the whole top 3 soon enough. But for right now, Jeffrey Fisher has just won Daytona. And in SYM TV's intro, they talk about it. Kyle talks about it. Kyle touches on the point. Winning at Daytona means everything to a driver, no matter the level. You're winning at Daytona, even on iRacing. You are winning at Daytona. It means a ton to any driver to enter these hallowed grounds and leave a victor. And today, Jeffrey Fisher has done just that. The number 98 winning at Daytona. He had some team help there from Matt Gruenberg, the pole sitter, but in the end, he throws his teammate to the side and wins out of turn number 4 in a drag race back to the stripe over Drew Eisenman and his teammate. And I mean, that's all there is to it. He's going to do the Polish victory lap here. No checkered flag out the window, unfortunately, but he's going to pay homage to, of course, the late, the great Alan Kulwicki as he celebrates here at Daytona.
Yeah, just a phenomenal drive from Fisher. Of course, stuck with Gruenberg all race. And, of course, the final lap, all bets are off. You have no teammates on the final lap. It is you in a race to that checkered flag, and he got there first. Just phenomenal stuff all day long. Seeing these drivers handle these cars on the high banks at Daytona, and granted, this is the repave, so this is a much smoother surface, so the speeds got even higher, and of course, nighttime made them even higher, making these cars even harder to drive, and just it has been absolutely phenomenal. I have been blessed to watch these 87 cars at Daytona. This is my first time watching these 87s as a broadcast, and it did not disappoint.
No, these cars are really, really fun to watch. They're really fun to drive as well. Just like I said in the beginning of the broadcast, you get a real sense of what the actual race car drivers had to deal with back in the 1980s. Jeff Fisher speeds it up, burns it down back to the start-finish line backwards. Let's see if he's going to try and take it off in the grass. He does. Gives it a nice big run through the grass.
And he's earned it. And thankfully, he doesn't have to pay for that Daytona grass after the fact, but he has earned the chance to tear it all to pieces and to tear the rest of that car up. of course, Team Valence, but the nose of that car is still getting a bit torn up in his celebration there. We'll drag him in. We'll talk to race winner Jeffrey Fisher here momentarily. He and I talked a little bit pre-race, actually. Him noting the fact that I've worked with him in the past in some road racing, and we'll just bring him straight in here. Jeffrey Fisher, and you're in the Pit Stop TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes.
Jeffrey, well, we saw each other in the general chat when we joined up into the Discord earlier. You end up leaving here. I'm getting to talk to you as a race winner. You're at Daytona. You win Daytona. Everybody wants to win Daytona. How much does it mean?
It's pretty good. It means a lot because it's my second full time. I did run a part-time trucks 2 years ago in 3 wide, so it feels good to win at a actual 3 wide points paying race, but rather it be on a regular track versus this, because this is just all about luck, man. You just got to time it right, and anyone can do it.
Well, the timing was just right to beat out Matt Grunberg in a drag race to the line. The finish behind you, man. What were the nerves like building up to that moment?
Well, I was calm. I was either going to come home either first, second, or third, so I wasn't too worried about it. It was a good points. Yeah, it just feels good. Finally, we're able to execute as a team better than the shootout and all that, so it feels good.
Now, how differently do you have to prepare for this race and have to run this race compared to running the current NASCAR stock cars, be it the Cup cars, Xfinity cars, whatever? How much of a difference is there between trying to strategize for one of those races and strategize for these cars?
For one, these things are a lot more fun to drive than the current version of NASCAR. This is a completely different animal. Like, you got to lift, you got to control the slides. You have to actually drive it instead of just matting it and hoping you miss the wreck. It's pretty fun.
And so, Jeffrey, of course, this is a points-paying race for the points season here that you can catch the rest of on SYM TV. What does this do for your season moving forward? Obviously, it's a great catapult. Winning any race is going to help you a ton, but how much pressure does this maybe relieve the rest of the season, knowing that you have just that little bit of a leg up?
I felt good in the off season because we ran a bunch of practice races in this car, and I actually don't like this car. I didn't like it at first. I hated it, but then I got behind it, and I just had the mentality of driving dirt car. So it's pretty good. I feel comfortable with a lot of tracks on schedule, like Michigan. I'm really good at Michigan. Dover, anything like that. So it's going to be good going into the rest of the season. I feel like there should be a couple more wins in it. Looking forward to being up front with Matt, because you already know he's going to be up front winning races. So all in all, it should be a good season for the last season of 3 wide. So go out with a bang.
Well, Jeffrey, before we let you go, who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out for your win at Daytona this evening?
I'd like to shout out my dad. He's actually watches all these races, and he's always rooting for me. And I used to go to a lot of dirt tracks with him for the 410 sprints and iRacing sprints, World of Outlaws. So it's pretty cool to have him watching, because he understands what it takes. Even though this is on a sim, on a computer, it's still a lot of real-world application that goes into this. So it's pretty neat to have him watching. Thanks, Matt, for the excellent help. He's a really good teammate. James, too. Glad he got back on the lead lap after we had that green flag pit stop. He put 3 gallons in his car, so we thought that was over for us. But he rallied back up for P4. Jordan got unlucky with a little incident in the back, I think. I don't know where he finished exactly, but yeah, just thank my team. Thank Corey for a good league. Thanks for you coming on board and helping out SYM TV. I know we ran Le Mans together, so it's pretty cool to have you on here for my first win.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to talk to you again. And as a winner this week at Daytona to open up the, final season here for the 3 Wide Racing League, the 3 Wide Cold Hard Art Cup Series. Man, again, try saying that 5 times fast. Jeff, you end up leaving Daytona a winner. Hopefully, SYM TV is talking to you a ton this season. Best of luck out there. Go get a championship.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the broadcast. Look forward to watching it.
And we'll be seeing him later on. That's Jeff Fisher winning at Daytona, the number 98 going to leave a leg up on the competition. Emerson Ardon, I'll turn it over to you with our second place finisher. It is, well, actually, do we have him? Yes, we should be able to get a handle on Drew Eisenman. Once again, we'll go ahead and drag him back in here.
Right on. So we were able to talk to Drew Eisenman, and he's back in here. Drew, you got a copy? Hey, Drew, this is the SYM TV booth. You got a copy?
Sorry, did you guys not hear me?
Oh, yeah, no, I guess it got cut off. But, yep. So second place finish. This interview will be a little less rushed than coming to the green there. So my apologies on that one. But, yeah, you were able to edge out second place. But on those final laps, what is your thoughts? You know you have two teammates nose to tail in front of you. Like, how many different ideas are going through your head, or on how you're going to break these guys apart and try to steal a win?
I know how good, I guess, their Team AV, former SYM guys are at teamwork. Like, I knew that they were going to have a strategy and that I was just going to take whatever was available. My car was a little compromised. I definitely did not have the speed that those guys had. But I was really happy that we kind of worked together on that restart and pulled away, and it was a 3-car battle, which was nice. I was really hoping that they would be battling side by side out of turn 4, and I was going to lay back a little in turn 3 and 4, and then try to get a run on that short run to the start finish. But when I saw that Fisher was going to clear him in 3 and 4, I knew that the best I was probably going to be able to do was to get up to second, because Matt was going to push him to the win, which is what happened, and that's totally understandable, and that's really good teamwork. So congratulations to those guys. But I feel like I maximized that race, started second to last, finished second. I don't think I could have done much better.
So we mentioned on the broadcast earlier about the damage, these 87 cars, and how it affects these cars at super speedways compared to how current Cup cars with damage would be affected. What can you tell us are the main differences? Did these cars handle better, or I guess better with damage than current Cup cars with damage at plate tracks?
I think they stay more competitive, despite I had almost a minute of optional, and I didn't feel like my straight line speed was compromised in any way. The big problem was I just got so tight, which I thought would have been a good thing considering the propensity of these cars to get really, really loose on longer runs. But it just got worse and worse and worse, and I was having to breathe the throttle in pretty severe ways that I definitely didn't have to do when the car was totally healthy. So that's why I stayed out with the right sides when I took 2 tires under green, is that it was the best the car had handled since I'd taken damage. So if I went down pit road, you would have basically, to justify that, you'd have to take 4 tires. And I just wasn't convinced that was going to make the cars more competitive. So yeah, it's like I felt great in a straight line. I felt like I was just as quick as Matt and Jeff Fisher. It's just, it really killed the cornering speeds.
Right on. All right, one more question here. So second place finish, great points day. Again, the season opener. How are you kind of looking on your outlook to the rest of the season?
I feel as confident as I felt for any of these 3 wide seasons. I've been doing a lot of racing with this 87 car. It's my favorite oval car by far. It's kind of reinvigorated my interest in oval racing. I'd kind of my passion for the NASCAR stuff had waned a lot with the kind of easier stuff to drive. It kind of harkens back to the old huge horsepower, early Gen 6, like Fusion and SS and stuff. So it's a lot of fun to drive. I'm really confident in my abilities in the car, and I think that obviously helps. Like when you think you can run well, you can usually run pretty well. So I have pretty high expectations of myself this season. I would be really disappointed if I didn't get a few wins and wasn't competing for the championship.
Right on. Well, we're wishing the best for you. Not so quickly. Who makes this happen for you?
I have a little side gig, Eisen Designs, where I paint cars. I will be posting on Twitter here in a little bit. So if you're looking for something, I feel like I painted half the field that you saw tonight. If they look cool, I painted it. Don't verify that. Just trust it. So if you're looking for something to get painted, hit me up. I pride myself on doing a pretty thorough and good job. Thanks to you guys, SYM TV, for broadcasting us, for putting this whole show on. Thanks to Corey, He's put so much work into this league to make it kind of what it is and to get the turnout that we got tonight. It's pretty fantastic. And yeah, that's about it.
Right on. Well, the field did look vibrant and full of color. Congratulations on your second place finish, and best of luck to you for the rest of the season.
Hey, thank you.
And that was our second place finisher, driver of the 77, Drew Eisenman.
And that time we got him moved out of the booth perfectly, without issue. And, of course, to finish things off, we'll talk to third place as usual. We've got Matt Grunberg waiting in the wings, and Devin, I'm going to throw you to the Wolves. It's time to go up to bat here. I'll give you Matt Grunberg.
Hey, Matt Grunberg, this is the Pit Stop TV booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Hey, man, that was a great race, great finish for you. I know you probably wanted to win that, but as the pole sitter, you stayed up front for the beginning of the race, kind of battled up there with the leaders, and in the middle of the race, you kind of fell back, to the end of that lead pack there. Was that a strategy call for you?
Yeah, once we lost the lead, it was just kind of just riding around in the back, waiting for the laps to tick by, and kind of had a strategy. Once we were in our fuel window, we would pit right away and just keep us out of trouble. And then we were able to line up 1, 2, 3, 4 with the other Team AV guys, and then we were able to put down some killer times, make up a ton of time after we pit. So yeah, that was just kind of the strategy, was just to stay out of trouble once we lost the lead.
Yeah, it seemed to work out for you guys. Y'all came to the line right there, 1-2, and then it seems like the 09 was there, got a P4 out of it. As teammates, battling for the line, was it pretty much all gloves off coming to the line on that last lap?
I told Jeffrey that I was going to go high in turn 3, just to make sure that one of us got the win, either me or Jeffrey. And it was kind of cool to get Jeffrey his first win. I know he hadn't gotten a win in 3 wide yet, so it was we were kind of wanted to get him a win tonight, and we ended up doing that. So goals accomplished. It would have been nice to get a P2, but Drew kind of snuck that away from us.
Yeah, you guys, it was pretty much going to be a 1, 2, or a 3 for you guys, since they had the issues with about 3 laps to go. Was that kind of your mentality once you saw that, to move up and let him kind of have that inside, knowing that there was, only 3 of you up there vying for the win?
Yeah, we definitely executed our strategy there at the end to a T. Just running the fastest line we could, and we ended up pulling away there. And once we knew that it was just us 3, just like you said, it was you just give Jeffrey the preferred lane there and hope everything goes well, and it did. So I guess job accomplished tonight.
Yeah, and I just have to ask about these cars for you. I mean, we all know that these cars are a handful to drive, and they're quite fun, though. Do you feel the same way? We know that Jeffrey was not too keen on it from his interview when you started the testing in the off season. How did you feel about them?
I definitely think these cars are a ton of fun on the super speedways like this. It really takes a little bit more skill to get a win in one of these compared to your traditional trucks or Xfinity or Cup cars. It's not just so much just full throttle all the way around the track. It's more of kind of actually driving the car, and it definitely takes more skill, and it's a lot more fun compared to those. But when we go to 1.5 miles in a short track, I don't know. I haven't really done too many races, but I guess we'll find out later on in the season how fun they actually are.
Well, we really wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. A great finish for you here. Would you like to give a shout out to anyone before we let you go who makes these races happen for you?
Just Corey, the league owner, and everybody who tuned in tonight, all the fans that were watching the broadcast tonight. And then, of course, SYM TV and you guys for putting on the broadcast for them.
Well, thank you very much, Mac. Again, good luck along the rest of the way. Thanks for giving us a great race to call up in the booth, and a great race for the fans to watch at home.
Yep, thanks for having me. Looking forward to the rest of the season. Hope you guys are as well.
And that's Matt Grunberg finishing up in third place this evening. We're definitely looking forward to things. Not gonna lie, usually I don't watch too many broadcasts other than our own here at Pit Stop TV, but I just might have to tune in the rest of the season on SYM TV, and you can do the same along with me. Again, go to SYM TV, follow them if you aren't already, subscribe on YouTube, follow them on Facebook, etc., etc. Make sure to tune in the rest of the season because this was some great racing, and this is only a taste of what's to come. We're re-watching, actually, perfect timing. This is the finish. This is how close it all was after 100 laps. Despite the top three being separated from the rest of the field by 9 seconds, this is how close they made it right here. Eisenman down on the bottom side of the racetrack, and by that much sneaks out a second place over Matt Gruenberg and just behind race winner Jeffrey Fisher. We do have some results to talk about. Emerson, how about you take the top 10?
Right on. Well, if we look at the results here, of course, Jeffrey Fisher on the top of the sheet there with the win over Drew Eisenman P2, Matt Gruenberg P3, James Miller. You see about 6 seconds back. Of course, the rest of the pack really got broken up with the incident. I believe it was 5 to go. So Miller 4th. Yeah, Trevor Butler 5th. Nathan Velez 6th. Michael Goodman P7. Brett Miller P8. Jonathan Cogswell P9. And Jordan McAvoy P10.
Yeah, and there's Kevin Finn in the 11th position. Cameron Rich, who had a strong run, was holding that top line by himself. Had a little bit of issues coming to about, I believe it was 20 to go. Was able to drive it back up and get a P12. Mike Stevens in the 63 machine will bring it home in 13th. Alex Boyd 14th. Corey Lindsay 15th. Chad Frankenfield, who was up at the front, again had troubles, was able to drive back from a lap down, finish 16th. Race Clark, again, he led most of this race. Just got involved in that last incident that brought out the yellow. Very unfortunate for him. He brings it home on 17th. Skylar Nissel brings it home 18th. Nick Miller 19th. And Justin Kolb 20th.
21st gives us Eric Mickey coming from dead last on the starting grid, just 1 lap down in 21st. 2 laps down in 22nd, the last car running at the end, Donovan Smith, who spent, I think, the entire race playing catch-up, at least 1 lap down, 2 laps down at the end. It's Levi Zielinski after a couple of late race incidents, 13 laps down in 23rd, Nick Boyd in 24th, Vic Bloom joining those drivers back there in 25th, William Kruzka in 26th, 27th gives us Dustin Durer, 28th gives us Carlos Acosta, who we talked a lot about towards the early goings. A little ways further back in 29th is James Panko in the 88. 60 laps down, you can kind of see everybody else in between there. 61 laps down, Jeremiah Llewellyn. A little further back of the rest of the field, you can see some of these guys, Tanner Sharp, Richard Hines, Brady Smith, and Sam Close, the rest of your field. All 68 laps down or more. And of course, Brady Smith, the first star of the evening, I think, with that blowover into turn 3, Emerson.
Yeah, I mean, again, these cars, they're absolutely wicked. The lack of aerodynamics of these cars kind of make these cars, the wrecking physics of these cars so much different than what we have today. The downforce of the Cup cars, you won't see that. Of course, roof flaps weren't invented yet. So many things have changed from 87 to 2020 that just kind of prevents wrecks like Smith had there early on. And of course, it being a simulator and these drivers not actually having to feel these accidents, like we mentioned, we can really enjoy those kinds of accidents on iRacing.
Yeah, Emerson, they're very, very enjoyable. We did get to see the blowover, and luckily, like we said, during that incident, this is a sim, so no one was really hurt, no cars were hurt, no drivers were hurt. They're not going to feel it tomorrow, which is very different than what it was for the actual drivers of these cars back in the 80s. Incidents like that could have hurt very much. So even though they are pretty cool physics-wise, we are glad for all the safety measures that our current race cars have in NASCAR, with the roof flaps and the big spoilers to keep the cars planted on the ground so we don't have any more incidents although they still happen, as Ryan Newman proved in a Daytona 500 race this year at the beginning of the season before all of the pandemic stuff kicked off. But again, we have the virtual racing tonight. It was a great win from Jeff Fisher. I'm sure it's going to be more exciting races to come for this league. I'm really looking forward to watching.
Absolutely. Like I said, I think I'm going to have to tune in the rest of the season. A lot of great stuff this evening from the 3-Wide Cold Hard Arts Cup Series this evening. Again, if you're wondering why you're looking at SYM TV, but you've got Pit Stop TV on the screen, Kyle Heyer making his drive back from Colorado to New York. Hopefully he's driving safely, and I'm sure he is, and safe travels to him. Hopefully he gets back sooner than later and can get home, get some sleep, get some rest, and get right back to his normal grind. He and Finian and everybody else at SYM TV, they always do a great job of covering all the racing action they have all week long, and doing so amazingly professionally. Every good adjective I think that you could apply to that would work. A lot of respect for Kyle and Finian, and really appreciative of the fact that we get to kind of cover for them here when Finian was covering another race and Kyle was, of course, driving back home. Now, on to those who allow us to do the great job that hopefully we do. Tucson Sound Art, first up. Your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and we will custom create a beautiful framed high quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional info. And when it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. At Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Bullier, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give them a call today to book a consultation. You can contact them at permanentmakeupinmaine.com. That always trips us up. Or call or text them at 207-358-8683. Again, that's permanentmakeupinmaine.com or 207-358-8683. We also want to talk a little bit about Whiplash Media, Pit Stop TV's new parent organization that specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing, camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing. Big things such as photography, actually. It might not seem that big, but it was a pretty big deal to get Trey Shuttlesworth out to Charlotte Motor Speedway and Myrtle Beach Speedway with us this past weekend. Social media management for David Levine Racing, as well as public relations for him and his amazing number 259 team that won this past weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Lucky Dog Racing League event. Second place in the first of two races, a 7-hour race that was split up into 4 and 3 over the evening of Friday and the morning of Saturday. Second place in class in that event. I forget where we finished overall in that one. But then yesterday, 10 hours throughout the day, finished first in class, 5th overall. So the big win in class for David Levine Racing and that number 259 Miata. You can see a bunch of pictures from Whiplash Media on David's Facebook page. Look up David Levine Racing on Facebook. You'll see all those pictures. You can also see some on Instagram, and you can buy any of those pictures and view some here soon on our social media page, Whiplash Media on Facebook. We'll have a gallery up soon at whiplash-media.com. Make sure to check it all out. That all being said, though, it's been a great event. Hate that it's coming to an end because it really was a lot of fun this evening, but that will conclude our coverage tonight of the 3-Wide Cold Hard Art Cup Series at Daytona International Speedway. We at Pit Stop TV, thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Join us again tomorrow as Operation E Motorsport tackles the Virginia International Raceway and the Global MX-5s. On Wednesday, when the Bluegrass iRacing Series takes on Richmond. And on Thursday, as the SRCA Indy Pro Series travels to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. You can always, of course, tune in to SYM TV and their racing action. We're not entirely certain on what's coming up the rest of the week, but they always have great stuff. Again, make sure, if you're not already, if you're coming from the Pit Stop TV side, check out SYM TV, an amazing job. Tons of respect for the product that Kyle and Finian and everybody else over there puts out. Hopefully, if you're over on the SYM TV side, you come check us out a little bit. See what we've got to offer. What we've got to offer, rather. Usually, I could talk a little better than that. I can get some words out, but hopefully you check us out and everything we're doing. Make sure to follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/pitstoptv, on Twitter at pitstoptv_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/pit_stop_tv, and on YouTube by searching Pitstop TV. For SYM TV and Pitstop TV, this has been Emerson Ardon and Devin Zimmerman with me in the booth. I'm sorry, Devin, a new name for me to try and get a handle on. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, and we will see you next time. Safe travels to Kyle Heyer. We'll see you, Finian Jacuna. You guys have a great night. We'll see you guys next time.